Zoom and through a phone link. And the meeting is also being carried live on YouTube. It is 6:01 p.m. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I invite those participating remotely to do the same. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. I'll start off with a roll call. Please verbally indicate you're present when your name is called. Commissioner Kelly?
Present.
Commissioner Parkins?
Present.
Commissioner Laskos?
Present.
Commissioner Motto?
Here.
Mr. Rossetti, our administrator?
Present.
Mr. Panico? Not there yet. Okay, Ms. Vernassos, our recording secretary?
Present.
Attorney Franti Doso, our corporation counsel?
I am present, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Myself, Commissioner Harger. Is Mr. Panico in the waiting room? Okay, we'll acknowledge him when he arrives. For the record, Commissioner Tiki and alternate commissioners Onofrio and Usal are unavailable for tonight's meeting, and Mr. Nappy is excused. A couple of points before continuing with this evening's agenda. Mr. Rossetti will act as the Zoom meeting host, while commissioners will be able to make comments throughout the meeting. The chair asks that you please identify yourself and wait to be recognized before speaking to make sure we're not speaking across each other, and to make sure our recording secretary is clear as to who is speaking. Our first agenda item is an update on two items from Corporation Counsel, and the chair recognizes Attorney Franti Doso.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I think that the first item on the agenda has to do with the Riverview litigation update. Council and I have had discussions a number of times. I can represent that we are close, but we do not have an agreement, and I cannot provide a resolution for you this evening because council is unavailable today to finalize. So if we have meeting of the minds, if we have a proposed resolution, I will come back to you at either a regular meeting or a special meeting. I acknowledge that last month you gave me a directive to provide to the applicant. The applicant was amenable to much of that, but there's still a bit of detail that if I were to disclose, I think it would be injurious right now to the whole agreement. So I would just ask that it pass.
Very good. All right, thank you for the update on that. The other part was a discussion of R1 and R2 zone changes on Long Hill Avenue, and there's supposed to be a public hearing on September 21st.
Yes, the panel heard from me last month with regard to the change from R1 to R2 in a specific section off of Long Hill Avenue in the northern section. And I will have formal maps for you with regard to the proposed change, but Mr. Rossetti has just circled an area which is essentially the area that the proposed change would be affecting. And as you can see from the circled area, much of the area, even though theoretically zoned R1, has characteristics of R2, which is the primary motive for asking for the change. I have a table which I will provide to all of you, which specifies the effect that the change from R1 to R2 would cause to both the bulk standards and the uses in that area. This is a amendment emanating from you as a commission, not from the public as a petition. So the protocol is a bit different. As some of you who've been on the board know, there's no need to contact all affected with regard to the change. But by the same token, I think it would be appropriate to have full disclosure of what in fact we are doing. We'll do that through maps and information provided. And as Mr. Rossetti has indicated, the public hearing is set for next week or the week after.
Okay, it's noted on the agenda as September 21st.
Are you saying that those people affected won't be getting a formal notice of a public hearing?
They won't be getting a formal notice because we're the commission. We don't have to send out a formal notice, but
No, I said that. I just wondered if that might be something to do anyway.
well, that's the commission's decision
Mhm.
during the public hearing. You can continue the public hearing if you like.
Right. Is there anything that you could say at this time would be particularly injurious to any property owners in that defined area?
Well, there's no doubt that the density will increase in that area if that change is made, but that is the rationale for the change, to have it comply with the areas surrounding it. And as I had pointed out in the past, if you look down to the south of, if you will, Sylvan Drive, you have there what I call PDD creep. That's all zoned R1, but you look at the size of the lots there. They're all R2 size.
Okay. Yeah, I think we would just be concerned about any property rights that would disappear, and that doesn't seem to be the case.
If you look to the east and you look to the west, you see essentially the same size lots.
So this is just to bring that particular area in conformity with the neighboring neighborhoods.
That's what the theory is. So then the commission has to decide.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So what's the rest of the commission feel? Should we direct staff to publish a legal notice?
Personally, I think you should. People get very emotional about their R1 zoning, and any thought that this was being done without the public being fully
There
aware.
has to be a notice. There has to be a notice.
Oh, but
Yeah, it's a legal notice of a public hearing.
I'm
But-
talking
Yeah.
about the people affected. That's what I'm suggesting.
Mm-hmm. Other commissioners, what are your thoughts on that? Doing a specific mailing to the affected property owners? If could staff put that map back up?
That would probably be the fairest thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Right. Whereas,
Just don't want to create a controversy or give people an idea that something's being done.
Yeah, deviously or
behind
under,
their backs. Yeah.
you're right.
Commissioner Parker, Commissioner Laskos?
As Commissioner Laskos, I think it would be prudent to do that. Just, if there's any opposition.
Mm-hmm.
I also agree, but I also think we need to have an opening statement at the public hearing to sort of advise people not only why we're doing this, but how it really doesn't take any of their rights away. If anything, it makes it easier for them to do things with their property that they might not be able to do.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Tito, so is that something that could be put in the notice? Not the legal notice that goes for the public hearing, but
The letter.
in a letter? And then it's just reiterated at the beginning of the public hearing?
Well, I could, I have a summary that I have already prepared. I could work with the planning office to send it out. The only thing I would ask is if we are intent upon notifying everybody,
Do we have time?
what's that?
Do we have enough time? It's a week, it would be a week from tomorrow.
Well, that's what I'm not sure of. That's why I'm saying you could keep the public hearing open and notify them. Let me work with the planning group. If we can't get notice out, we may postpone, but if we can get notice out, we'll do it.
Yeah, it's whatever is logical and does not put us in having opened ourselves up for criticism. If it just delaying it for a week would cover all the bases.
Well,
Okay.
plus whatever we put in the letter as the notice also has to be printed in the paper, so we've got to not be too wordy in that. It's going to cost us a lot more for the ad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
They make-
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Simple language. Yeah, as
Um,
you
Mr. Rossetti, has any, first notice been put in yet?
Yes. 10,
Okay.
15 days out. And the
Right.
second one's published just before the meeting and then, yeah, I mean, per statute, the neighbors are not required. And the reason for that is, if you're going to change the zone for 100 parcels, it's somewhat of an overburden on the commission to be emailing 100, 150 people. But if that's what the commission would like to do, we can certainly try and.
Well, I
oblige.
don't think it's 150 people.
No, yeah, I'm giving you the range, so like if the commission decided with their own action to change a large area from a certain zone
Oh, yeah, that's.
to another zone, the,
The precedent will have been set. I get that.
yeah, it's more suggestive.
I don't really see us changing a large area.
No.
Um,
Can
think
you
this
put that
is-
map back up?
I think that the commission's desire to provide notice, I hear loud and clear, but what I'd ask is if we could provide notice in as expeditious a way and least expensive a way as possible.
Mhm.
Because there is no legal requirement to provide notice. I understand the ethical position the commission feels it's in and wants to, and will comply with that. But we don't have to comply with statutes that don't apply to us. We
Mhm.
can comply
Well, how many
with,
people are we looking at?
Yeah, that's why I wanted to put the map back up.
let's see, roughly, probably looking at 60.
60 residents?
60 separate parcels.
It's quite a bit.
Yeah, I understand the concern about setting precedent, because once you do this,
Right, you're going to
you're
always
gonna have to
do
follow through.
just kind of a unique, I've never heard of us doing anything like this before. This is not,
Yeah, it doesn't happen on a
I-
regular basis.
Well, we did a very similar thing
Yeah.
with the Moss property,
Mhm.
And-
just over here. We changed this entire zone, these parcels along here. Notice was given, public hearings were had, everything was published and available online, and the commission moved forward. But
Yeah, but the Moss property was vacant land, wasn't it?
that's correct. However, these parcels
but
down
it's-
here, which were also changed, this map does not show the
Right.
reflected updates.
Mhm.
Those are occupied. But
But how was that notice given? Was it just a legal notice in the paper? Or
correct.
did they- Okay,
Correct.
so there was no individual. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I don't see why we can't extend notice to individuals.
Okay.
And
Now, are you requesting notice to individuals of just the parcels that are affected?
yes,
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
that's me talking.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I agree there.
Yeah.
Everyone
It
should.
is somewhat precedent setting, though.
Yeah, but you know what?
well,
Sometimes-
people get upset if they think we're doing something behind their backs that
Yeah,
affects
no, you're right.
Okay,
Mhm.
our emotional issue in this town.
Mhm.
I would
Okay.
just make it a simple mailing, please be advised that a public hearing is being held on such and such a date. For, to change whatever Fran language comes up with.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
real
will work
Something
with-
real simple, just to,
Get-
don't replicate the same meeting notice
Yeah.
that's in the
Mhm.
paper that way, then just send a notice saying,
You'll hear
We'll-
more about it at the public hearing.
Right.
There are questions and you'll explain
well, we
it.
can direct them to the website because there's going to be
Is,
more
is
information.
this a zone change
Yeah.
that's going to be initiated by the commission?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we will work on that ASAP.
good. And before we go any further, I just want to acknowledge for the record that Mr. Pianico joined us at approximately 6:12 PM. Okay,
My apologies.
that's okay. Anything else, Attorney Teodoso?
No, do you want me to stay for the beginning of your meeting?
Sure, we have just a couple of certificates of zoning compliance, but after that, that would be great. Then we'll go on to old business. All right, so moving along. Our first, next agenda item are certificates of zoning compliance. And while there are 8 listed on the agenda, we are only going to discuss and act on items number 5 and number 8. The reason being the others, as from what I can determine, have not been referred to the zoning subcommittee as we have done in the past. And I really don't feel that we should deviate from that process, that sign applications go before them for their review and recommendation back to the entire commission. So number 5 is Torito Mexican Restaurant. And Commissioner Amato, you're aware of this particular one, I believe?
Yeah, it's been a while, so I don't know where it landed exactly. We talked about, I think Alex can refresh our memories as to where we landed in terms of.
The subcommittee had suggested that the signs be approved as you're seeing here without the Bulls logos atop the canopy. And they were fine with leaving the Torito
Alter.
Mexican Restaurant and the Bull centered above the establishment.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the side one too, Alex?
Correct.
Okay,
Okay.
And same thing here.
Yep.
Bulls
right,
being removed.
right.
Okay. And Commissioner Parkins, do you have anything to add for that?
Nope,
Okay.
that's kind of the consensus after a lot of discussion.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. And then Commissioner Laskos, you're on the sign committee, right?
Yes, that's what I recall also.
Okay. All right. So Commissioner Amato, is there a recommendation from the subcommittee for approval?
yeah, I think we can recommend that be approved, sure.
Okay. Who wants to make a motion to approve the Torito sign as amended according to Mr. Rossetti's comments?
I'll make the motion to approve the sign as we have just discussed.
Okay. And is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it, Commissioner Laskos.
Okay, thank you. So on the motion made by Commissioner Amato, seconded by Commissioner Laskos to approve the Torito sign. I'll do a roll call. Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye,
Commissioner Amato,
Aye.
Commissioner Laskos,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. That motion has passed 5-0. The next one dropping down is number 8, MSCU and MSCU paperwork. MSCU stands for Mutual Security Credit Union. And Mr. Rossetti, the reason for this sign request?
This is a PDD and the applicant is proposing to reopen the ATM, which has been existing, and however they would like to install just kind of this canopy design over the facility.
Okay, this is at 1000 Bridgeport Avenue,
Correct.
and that is the bottom left corner of that building is where People's Bank had a branch for years and years and years with an outside drive-through, an ATM. Okay, so in any comments that you've received, they're not including any kind of drive-through, drive-through window. This is just a standalone kiosk.
That's correct.
Okay, so they're not opening a branch, they're just making a kiosk.
Oh, no, they're occupying 1000 Bridgeport Avenue. Sorry, I misrepresented what you said. They are going to occupy the area that was People's Bank.
Oh, all right,
And they will have a branch there. This is the only addition, and they've told me that there's plumbing and infrastructure in the ground for, the setup that People's Bank had. They are just reusing the existing pad,
Mhm.
and this is what they would like to propose.
All right, because this was a banking facility beforehand, did staff approve the business use of this particular part of the
Yes,
building? Okay, so that was approved. The business use was approved by staff, and this is the only other, no other exterior signage that they're
They-
requiring?
they have a sign in the building that's a replacement of what People's Bank had. This is the only thing that's new and an alteration.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Are they also located on Progress Drive?
I'm not sure.
There was something in the building where everyone was going to get their vaccines, the Griffin Hospital.
That was Griffin Hospital and
The credit union is on the second floor, whatever
Yeah.
one that is. So, yeah, do you have a sample of what that exterior building sign is that replaced the People's?
I do. It looks just like Mutual Credit Union right here, where the
Mhm.
People's Bank sign was.
Yeah,
Size. So just before, if you want to pull that up, I don't think I need to see it, but it's just these curved overhangs that are
Yep.
new. And that's just some kind of weather protection, basically.
yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Happening.
But the apparatus is there.
hmm
That's correct.
Okay.
the ability to put this, install this apparatus is there, the electrical and whatever else that they need. So, yeah, for People's, they had I think a pretty flat roof or something that went overhead. Mr. Rossetti, you trying to bring up something?
I can. Yep.
Okay. Commissioner Perkins, were you trying to validate who was on that research drive or whatever?
Yeah, I am. I'm trying to find the picture that I had sent you, but I might have deleted it.
Is that research drive?
Progress. Is it?
Progress, okay.
Thought it was Progress. Yeah, it seemed to have deleted it, so I'm not sure.
Was this on the side of the building or remotely to the building? Oh, okay.
So they're reusing the same,
Right.
it's the same dimensions. It's the same. And we told the applicant if anything was changing, they'd have to come before the commission, and they said, no, we're gonna reuse exactly what's existing, just replace our letters.
So
Mhm.
where would that ATM be?
Do you see this,
Yeah, over there with
Yeah.
that.
the bump out over here where my
Right,
mouse is
right.
circling? Down over on the outside lane is where that ATM would exist.
Okay.
From the
No.
road, you can barely see it.
So that flat roof with the poles, that's staying. This is just an extension.
Um,
Goodness.
okay, right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. Oh, that's good. All right, does everybody have a good idea now what they're striving for?
Yep.
Okay. So it's a standalone type of unit. Any further questions for Mr. Rossetti?
Nope.
All right. All right, so because Commissioners Motto and Laskos and Parkins, seeing that you're the subcommittee, is there a recommendation you want to start off with?
I'll recommend that we approve that modification.
Mm-hmm. How do the other members of the subcommittee feel?
I'm fine with it.
I'm also fine with it.
Okay, all right, who'd like to make a motion for approval?
Make
Of,
the mo-
Yeah, the Mutual Security Credit Union, ATM piece.
Yeah.
So that's Commissioner Amato?
Yes,
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it, Commissioner Laskos.
Okay, thank you. So on the motion made by Commissioner Amato, seconded by Commissioner Laskos to approve the Mutual Security Credit Union exterior signage for their ATM. I'll do a roll call. Commissioner Perkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Amato,
aye.
Commissioner Laskos,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Motion is passed 5-0.
I have confirmed that they do have a branch on Progress Drive, and they also have probably an unapproved monument sign.
That is something that's been referred to staff.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
would you consider looking at some of these other signs? We were not able to coordinate a subcommittee meeting.
No,
it's-
I think with the amount of the agenda that we have on hand, I'd like to have those zoning subcommittees focus on those. There's I've looked at them and there's different variations, and some of them I don't think are straightforward. Did any other commissioner on the subcommittee look at them and have a different opinion? You're welcome to speak up.
I
No,
have not.
not.
Okay.
I assume these people want to get going, but maybe we can expedite it some other way.
Yeah, so staff is, I'm directing staff to get in touch with the zoning subcommittee and set up a sign committee meeting on whatever method is appropriate to get these, to have these 6 looked at and
Yeah.
with sufficient notice to the zoning subcommittee members. Okay. All right, any questions on that, Mr. Rossetti?
Nope.
Okay, all right, moving on. Old business, and the agenda that's online shows application 2204 in a different position, but I am moving that up to the top. So this is application 2204, Fred Monahan, for a text change of Schedule A, line 10A, in section 33 to permit farm retail stores on farmland in R1 and R1A zones. Public hearing for this application opened on March 29th of this year, and after the proposal was presented by the applicants and its attorney, there were several questions from the commission regarding the nature of the proposed text change. Public hearing was continued to April 20th, during which time 13 residents and a member of the Shelton Conservation Commission commented on the application. The public hearing was left open, and at the commission's meeting on June 22nd, the applicant reviewed revised use line 10 and 31.7 language. Public hearing was continued, and on July 20th at the continuation, there were questions from the commission about buffers, lighting, and building size that were presented to the applicant. 18 residents presented comments, and the public hearing was closed. So does staff have any comments regarding this application? Mr. Rossetti?
I'll wait to see what the commission questions are before I address anything. I mean, there's been a lot of public involvement, a lot of traffic reports, a lot of analysis on what's going on with this site. The applicant has done their best to try and clarify as many questions as they have. The current proposal is to amend what you have all seen to allow, or the applicant has asked to modify the existing proposal so that the second floor of the office building with the retail area on the
Whoa,
first
whoa,
floor.
whoa. We're talking about farm stand.
We're on the farm stand.
We're on application 2204. I moved it up to the top.
2204.
I'm sorry.
That's Shelton Plaza.
Yeah, that one will
Okay.
be next. So do you have any comments on the farm stand?
Other than what I reported, no.
Okay,
Yeah. Got a nice right here, which I appreciate.
Yes. There
Yes.
was a summary that was presented by staff to the commission. Was this put online, by the way?
We did not publish it online. We just sent it to the commission.
Okay. All right. So what comments do the rest of the commission have about this particular application?
Well, the thing that stands out to me is this notion of keeping track of percentage of sales from the actual farm versus from other farms. That seems like an undue burden on the commission. I guess the staff would have to weigh in on that and say whether if that seems like a reasonable thing. I don't know of any other situation where we're monitoring a business in that way. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I agree. And, you know, we have a lot of regulations. And we shouldn't be changing regulations for one particular person or one particular type of business.
Oh.
That's how I feel.
They want to change, they want an opportunity to do something, expand in a way their business, and this would be a route to go, but
Well, that would be every farm that has at least 5 or 10 acres. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
And it
don't-
would be citywide. Understand that.
you know, it's not just this farm.
No, I know, but it's not a lot. I'm sympathetic to the farms because,
I am too. You know,
Yeah.
you look at the bumper sticker and no farms, no food. I understand that, but we're not really talking about growing the food.
Right. I don't think anybody is against farms at all. I
No,
mean, come on, we all go to
agree.
farmers markets, we all buy fresh vegetables, some grow them in their own yard. But as
Yeah.
I've mentioned before, I'm not in favor of what appears to be a new trend where applicants are proposing text changes to our regulations as a way to get projects approved. And if a
Mhm.
change will benefit the city, I feel it should come at the recommendation of staff or the commission itself. So to me, this proposed text change will likely only benefit a few, but may pose a burden for many.
Mhm.
well, I'm thinking it would be a burden to the city to regulate this, and
Right, in many
Yeah.
ways.
enforcement, I think, would be how it could be done, frankly. The other thing, I wondered why they didn't come in with just a proposal to do a bigger farm stand.
I agree. You know, like a 3-car or a 2-car garage would have been more than sufficient.
Yeah. And I know, there's a farm stand in town. We probably all know which one I'm referring to, but they sell stuff. They sell corn from New Jersey and pumpkins from Pennsylvania, and nobody seems to get excited about it. And nobody has to count how many pumpkins they're selling from, from Connecticut. It just,
Well, yeah, you know, and who says that the product is not coming in from other states, and who's going to keep track of that, and so on and so forth. And
Mhm.
yeah, I thought it's too complicated. That's my feeling about it.
plus the size of the building. I mean, you know, you're talking a good sized building it's not a farm stand, it's a farm store. It's a
Mhm.
store. It's a grocery
Yeah.
store, basically.
Yeah, and I didn't think the argument that it has to be on the farmland was really very compelling.
No, like I said, I don't think anyone in the commission is against farming. We need the farming, we need the farmers. There's no question about it. It's just the way it was presented.
Mhm. Okay. Commissioner Laskos, did you want to weigh in on anything?
Yeah, also, while I'm in favor of farms and do not agree with a lot of the residents' comments in the public hearing that tried to make it about their neighborhood, I do not like the verbiage on this text amendment change.
Okay. All right, I would be in agreement with pretty much everything that everyone else has said, and especially with Commissioner Parkins and her comments as to it seems that it would be widespread throughout the city, but only benefiting a few. And it should come as, if there's going to be a zoning regulation change, have it come from the staff and the commission so that it's done in an appropriate manner and for an appropriate reason, and not just as a presentation to have one particular parcel of land benefit. All right, so if is there a consensus among the commission for action on this particular application this evening?
Appears to be, so I'll make a motion to deny application 2204.
Okay,
And I will second that.
there's a motion from Commissioner Parkins for denial, seconded by Commissioner Kelly for application 2204. So on that motion, I'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Lascos,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto.
I, with some regret, but I think that's the right way to go.
Okay, Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Motion to deny passes on a vote of 5-0. Oh, and let me just clarify for the record. I did look at the who was present in previous public hearings, and everyone was it was valid for everyone to vote, because if they were not at one public hearing, they were at the another one, or they were at all three, and it was they have expressed to me that they are very much knowledgeable of this particular application. All right, so moving on to the next one is application 2125, Shelton Plaza. Dominic Thomas for 265 Bridgeport Avenue, LLC. At 265 Bridgeport Avenue, Assessors Map 92, Lot 19, petitioning for a special exception application in a restricted business zone, RBD, on 0.67 acres for a 4,060 square foot retail and office building with a service station and on-site parking. Mr. Rossetti, has there been any changes to the status of this particular application?
There have been, so the current status is if it's filed with the application or filed with the commission, it is. I thought you'd be asking about comments.
No, what is the current, what's the current status of the application? It's open?
It is still open and for the commission to debate and discuss.
Okay, all right, so we have, this particular application has been before us for a while. And we are at a point where we have to act on this evening. So what is the thoughts of the commission on this particular application?
Well, I understand they're changing it again.
I'm not sure. Mr. Rossetti, do you have some comments about that?
That's correct. The applicant has proposed to remove the second floor of the retail / office building, adjust the positioning of the building forward away from the rear retaining wall, and reduce the size of the retail area to that more in line of a gas station kiosk.
Do
Rather
we have
than-
a drawing on that or no?
That was, those changes were made or proposed after the hearing was closed, so the commission is not able to view any new material.
Well, then I think we should just deny it and get a proper site plan and we'll reopen it.
Yeah, I have a question, if you don't mind. So I understand that the gas station itself is a permitted use,
Correct.
but not the office or the retail or the convenience store.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. So I believe, the way the gas station,
Clarification on that. I believe the offices would have been permitted as part of the special exception, but not the retail store.
and not the convenience.
Correct, not the convenience store.
A building containing an office would have been permitted, but not the retail.
correct.
Okay.
So, I believe gas stations make money on convenience stores. That's how they make their money at gas stations.
Elaine, is there something in your background? Because
Not-
you're garbly.
Ask, well, who's,
No, I think it's coming from Alex. I could be mistaken, or somebody that's not on mute.
Not on my end.
Yeah.
here?
Right, it seemed to have just stopped, so whoever just muted.
Okay. All right. So, Elaine, you want to continue?
I don't know. I don't remember. Let's see. Um,
You were mentioning on just for the gas station, what is
Yes.
permitted? in
So
Crawford?
the gas station apparently is a permitted use.
That's correct.
Right.
Subject to special exception.
Yeah.
No,
but
No, at the
wouldn't-
gas station,
Yes,
Subject to a special exception.
the gas station is automatically a high traffic generator.
Yeah,
And mandates a special exception.
okay.
we had a lot of different traffic information, but there was enough of a negative report there to give me pause since I'm not a traffic expert.
Mhm.
I recall their experts saying this is the best place on Bridgeport Avenue to put a gas station, as if we were trying to do that. Which we're not.
Mhm.
There's a lot about this I don't really like.
Mhm. I agree.
Okay. All right, so we're in a position where we could not get additional information. And to tell you the truth, by doing that, I think our hands are tied to, and we can deny without prejudice. And then they could come back with a new application. They could ask the commission to waive application fees if it's resubmitted. So,
But I'm just curious how other people feel about it in general.
yeah, I was just gonna ask.
I personally agree with you, Elaine.
Yeah.
We've talked about this. They changed, I have a whole, almost a whole book on everything that happened with it. And it's been changed.
Mhm.
And you're right. I just think it's, it's a traffic getter. So,
High traffic generator, is that what you're
Yeah.
trying to say? Okay.
In an awkward place.
Mhm.
right.
Okay, Commissioner Parkins or Commissioner Laskos, do you have any comments you want to share?
I don't have any major concerns about the gas station convenience store being there. I was concerned that if Cott's Road or Street, whatever it's called, is going to be a throughway or open access to Constitution Boulevard, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Constitution Boulevard is being designed so as to not have access to Cott. So that, to me, that relieves a lot of potential traffic coming down from there to that convenience store. So that, to me, was a little bit of a plus, if you will.
Mhm.
I don't like the fact of approving something that they are saying they're going to change, but we have no proof of that other than their word. From the commission standpoint, I mean, they may have, emailed staff or put it in writing or whatever, but I'm very uncomfortable approving something that is not what's in front of us.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it would be risky for sure, to say the least.
I like the concept of, denying without prejudice and, having them come back when they have all their stuff redone,
In a row,
so we can make an informed decision.
yeah. Approving something as only that has been presented when it's clear that they want to make some changes is, I'm uncomfortable with.
In effect, you would only be approving the gas station.
Mhm.
That's the bottom line right now. That's what you would be approving.
Mhm.
And you have to be comfortable with the traffic situation.
Right. Yeah, they did go to Connecticut DOT to have 2 curb cuts, but Connecticut DOT said only one. So there,
Well, it's not so much the number of curb cuts, it's the direction to which they will allow traffic to flow.
So they won't allow a curb cut on both Cott Street and Old Bridgeport Avenue, or whatever that road is called?
Oh, yes, they do have a curb cut on both Bridgeport Avenue and Cott Street.
They wanted two cuts.
And
up.
the reason being is that the curb cut on Bridgeport Avenue is only an access from the north, from downtown Shelton side, and you can only access going south. Okay, so you cannot leave at that location and go back to downtown, nor can you come from the south and turn in. Those maneuvers are not allowed. That's why they introduced the curb cut on Cott Street, to allow people to go up Cott Street and turn into the gas station, or come out Cott Street and then make a left turn to downtown Bridgeport, I mean, to downtown Shelton.
And was there a problem with that? That was at least,
What that does is it superimpose a rather significant burden on that intersection that's further complicated in its geometry by the connection of Old Bridgeport Avenue, one carlet up Cott Street. And it just makes for a very difficult intersection arrangement.
because you can't turn left to go north, basically. Is that,
I'm sorry, what was that?
you can't turn left to go north.
Coming out onto Bridgeport Avenue, you cannot, but you can from Cott Street.
you know, it could be the kind of thing where at some point, maybe the city has to look at closing that Cott Street and moving the opening up closer so that it intersects with the traffic light.
That is being considered.
That would be a potential solution, yes.
That
Okay,
is being considered.
yeah, well, that's good to know. Yeah, at least you have a traffic light regulating the comings and goings, and you don't have people trying to scooch into the traffic and just creating an issue with potential accidents. there.
We knew that this was that this traffic circulation was going to be a problem when we
Mhm.
first envisioned Constitution Boulevard getting extended to the north. And we knew at that time that with just Constitution Boulevard coming down to Bridgeport Avenue, there was going to be a significant traffic burden placed on Bridgeport Avenue between that Constitution Boulevard interchange and the southbound ramps.
Mhm.
That stretch was going to have a significant traffic increase.
Mm. Okay. Commissioner Laskos, did you have any comments you want to share?
I agree with the other commissioners. I'm not comfortable with all the changes I'm hearing and not having a proper site plan or any plans
Mhm.
showing them.
Okay. Attorney Tedesco, is there anything that you would want to comment on this for the good of the commission?
Commission knows the site better than I do. I don't think that there's anything from a legal perspective that I need to counsel the commission on.
Okay.
It's time for their decision.
Good. All right. All right. So is there someone that wants to move a motion?
I'll make a motion to deny it without prejudice.
All right. So there's a motion from Commissioner Kelly to deny without prejudice. Is there a second?
I'll make a second, Commissioner Laskos.
Okay. So on the motion to deny without prejudice from Commissioner Kelly, seconded by Commissioner Laskos, I'll do a roll call. Commissioner Laskos,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Okay, so the motion has passed 5-0. All right, next thing on the agenda is 2128 Chromium Commons. After public hearings on February 16th and March 18th of this year, the public hearing was closed. At the commission meeting on August 9th, the commission discussed the application and directed staff to prepare a favorable resolution. Mr. Panico, are you ready to present the resolution?
Yes, if you just give me a moment.
Sure.
think, yes, I have the latest version. We
Okay,
did make several changes along the way.
it was scrutinized as much as possible.
That's the correct one that's on the screen right now.
Yeah, final draft.
Would you like me to read it?
Yeah, please.
Okay, this is the application, it's a final draft. And it's application 2128, the petition of Primrose Development LLC for initial development concept plan approval and adoption of a planned development district for a mixed-use retail and multifamily residential building at 113 Canal Street West, currently zoned industrial IB2 district in downtown Shelton. The petitioner proposes to establish a planned development district on a 27,878 square foot parcel situated between Canal Street West and Canal Street East and extending from the end of Center Street, approximately where the railroad tracks cross, to where Canal Street intersects with Canal Street West intersects with Canal Street East, which is down by the farmers market.
Mhm.
Site enjoys extensive frontage on both sides of Canal Street, east and west, but has a very limited depth of approximately 60 feet street to street. The site was originally occupied by buildings and facilities of Chromium Process prior to its acquisition, clearance, and remediation by the city of Shelton, assisted by grants from the state of Connecticut. The site is in an area of mixed commercial uses across Canal Street West from the currently mixed-use multi-tenant building known as the Conti Building, formerly a manufacturing facility. Howe Avenue and downtown businesses are just a block away. Across Canal Street East is a site recently given conditional approval for a multi-story mixed-use building with retail at street level and 92 apartments, known as Riverview Park Royal, with on-site parking for 205 vehicles.
Mr. Rossetti, could you move up the resolution, please?
My computer froze for a minute here. Give me a second.
Oh, okay, sure.
Come on.
There you go. Okay.
All right. The subject site is essentially flat at street level and is being temporarily used as a municipal parking lot. The watercourse, identified as Burying Ground Brook, crosses it in a culvert at approximately the midpoint of the site. Any development of the site will be seriously constrained by the narrow depth of the site, limited by Canal Street West and Canal Street East. The property is currently owned by the city of Shelton and has been designated for economic development, mandated in conjunction with the remediation grants that were provided by the state of Connecticut. The proposed development consists of a 4-story building, approximately 60 feet by 165 feet, having a gross floor area of about 40,000 square feet, with retail use at the street level and 3 floors of residential apartments above. The retail floor space comprises 6 rental units totaling about 7,300 square feet, with the balance of the ground floor being devoted to the apartment lobby, the mail room, and an exercise room, plus mechanical space. The 30 residential dwelling units. You have problems?
No, we're good.
I'm sorry, that was me.
Mhm.
Excuse me. Where was I? Okay, the 30 residential rental dwelling units have a mix of 15 one-bedroom units and 15 two-bedroom units. Due to size constraints, on-site parking is limited to a total of 38 cars. Access to the site is provided by a single driveway from Canal Street West, serving the parking area as well as the entrance to the apartments. The building and its retail stores are positioned at the back of the sidewalk on Canal Street East. All on-site parking is located on the southerly portion of the site. Initial site development plans were submitted for the proposal and are accompanied by a statement of uses and standards, an SOUS. Said plans are entitled Chromium Commons Building, 113 Canal Street West, Shelton, Connecticut, with the cover sheet dated November 10, 2021, prepared by Rose Tizo and Company, LLC, architects, surveyors, and engineers. The commission convened a duly noticed public hearing on February 16 of 2022, and it was continued and completed on March 16th of 2022. At said hearing, there were just 2 comments and concerns expressed by the public, and they were related primarily to parking adequacy. In addition, the commission raised several questions relative to building design and the necessity to reflect an aesthetically good appearance from all sides, the provision of not less than 10% affordable housing units, and the need to provide adequate parking, noting that at 38 spaces, the parking shown is totally inadequate. The commission noted that the current use of the site for public parking was always confirmed as an interim use, and that the site was always committed to economic development to satisfy state requirements relative to the remediation grants received from the state. The petitioner agreed that all concerns will be considered more fully and resolved during the preparation of final detailed development plans to the satisfaction of the commission and all other applicable boards and commissions. The petitioner noted that the proposed building walls are intended to utilize the thick foundation walls of the original building. And he further stated that the existing sidewalk on Canal Street East will be extended to the proposed building, resulting in a 15-foot sidewalk across most of the building's store frontage. The commission has reviewed the subject initial site development plans, is familiar with the area and the existing site conditions, has considered how the site is proposed to be developed, its relationship to the existing and/or proposed land uses of adjacent parcels, and the concerns expressed by the commission at the public hearing and in its deliberations, and notes the following observations and findings. First, existing and/or proposed and approved land uses in the immediate vicinity are a mixture of ground floor retail with rental residential apartments above. The site is currently industrially zoned and is situated in the downtown special development area. The site is served by all utilities and is level with the abutting streets, but it is constrained by its shallow depth. The proposed structure is a well-designed building with attractive features in keeping with the downtown area. However, on-site parking is deficient, and nearby off-site municipal parking facilities are seriously taxed, supporting existing development. Separate provisions for additional parking to adequately satisfy the parking requirements of the proposed development must be provided by the applicant. Number 2, the subject 27,878 square foot site is rectangular in shape with about 360 feet of frontage along both Canal Street West and Canal Street East. It appears to include property now or formerly of the Yankee Gas Service Company, and it's unclear as to whether that area has been included in the subject site area. As previously noted, the site is severely impacted by its narrow depth, approximately 60 feet. In addition, the aforementioned culvert carrying Burying Ground Brook crosses the site at about its midpoint and results in the need to place the building at one end and the parking on the other. Only limited excavation and regrading of the existing site is required, since upon completion of environmental remediation, the site had been used temporarily for municipal parking. Full utility services are available on both street frontages, and all on-site utilities will be located underground. All stormwater runoff will be collected and cleansed prior to discharge to the existing culvert carrying the Bering Brown Brook watercourse. There are no on-site inland wetlands. The approval of the Shelton Water Pollution Control Authority or the discharge of the sanitary sewer system will be required. 3, the proposed building has a length of 165 feet and a width of 59 feet, with a height of about 50 feet, not including the roof features at each end, which add approximately 8 feet to the height. The proposed building is of attractive design with articulated building siding, hip roof features, and an exterior of masonry and horizontal siding with approximately 50% brick and an attractive storefront treatment. The Canal Street West facade, although being the rear service side of the building, needs further design modification and treatment in recognition of the full exposure and view from Howe Avenue and Center Street. Consideration should be given to extending the storefront overhang and column treatment of the east and north elevations, carrying it partially down the west side elevation, as well as extending the brick up another level, consistent with the east and the north side elevations. The commission and staff are available to work with the applicant to achieve an acceptable treatment. Further specifics concerning the exterior design and materials will be required and may be modified as detailed architectural drawings are being prepared and submitted for commission review and approval as part of final site development plans. As an aside, the applicant is aware of those concerns and has already begun to pursue some possible design modifications to that facade. And I think we are going in the right direction. Number 4, the initial site development plan locates the building in the northwesterly portion of the site where the original chromium process main building was located. Demolition of that building did not remove the foundation walls, and the applicant intends to utilize said foundation walls to support the proposed building. The remainder of the site is proposed for on-site parking totaling 38 spaces, 2 of which were designated handicap parking spaces. The site perimeter property lines require clarification, and a survey map clearly showing the boundary dimensions, site area, and ownership is needed, since the site boundary actually becomes the precise limits of the PDD if it's adopted. The southeasterly end of the site appears to include a portion of property now or formerly owned by the Yankee Gas Services Company. It is unclear from the map submitted if this area has been included in the site area of 27,878 square feet. A parcel area map should be submitted, prepared and certified by a Connecticut registered land surveyor. That will then give us the precise boundaries. The sidewalks and curb lines along the site frontage of both Canal Street and West of both Canal Street East and West should extend the full length of the site and should include handicap ramps where appropriate. On the northwesterly end of the building, that's the end adjacent to the railroad tracks, the ends of the sidewalk should extend out to the curb lines with appropriate handicap ramps aligned to the Riverwalk as well as to the existing ramp that's at the corner of Center and Canal. Appropriate pavement crosswalk marking should also be indicated. The proposed curbing and sidewalks along West Canal Street should be clarified. The parking lot width dimensions are unclear, and the limits of the parking lot width may require some minor adjustments to prevent automobile overhang from infringing upon the public walkways. 5, regarding required off-street parking, paragraph 7 of the proposed statement of uses and standards simply sets forth a requirement that 1 space per apartment unit, and it cites the availability of, quote, municipal parking within 300 feet of the property, unquote. The commission finds this to be totally inadequate. Referring back to the zoning regulations, the commission notes that the original parking regulations call for 1.5 spaces per rental dwelling unit or in this instance, 45 spaces. However, a comprehensive amendment of section 42, off-street parking and loading, was prepared and adopted effective September 13 of 2013. Under use classification 3 for rental apartment units, resident parking for 1 and 2 bedroom units is required at the rate of 2 spaces per unit for the first 5 units and 1.5 spaces per rental unit apartment above 5. Applying these standards, the required resident parking for the 30 apartments is 10 spaces for the first 5, and 25 at 1.5 equals 37.5 spaces for the remainder, or a total of 47.5 spaces. Since this is a PDD proposal, the commission has the discretion to establish what it believes to be an appropriate standard, taking into consideration existing and proposed off-street parking facilities that may be available in the near future, such as the city's proposed 70-car municipal parking lot intended for the Yankee Gas property on Howe Avenue and has been delayed due to environmental cleanup required. In addition, this petitioner has recently received conditional approval of the proposal identified as Riverview Park Royal, a rental apartment and retail facility across Canal Street East from the subject site, with municipal parking based on a parking ratio of 2 spaces per apartment, regardless of the number.
Mr. Panico, that's not municipal parking.
I'm sorry?
You had said the word municipal. So if you back up a bit,
Yes.
Oh, 70 car.
yeah, it's with proposed parking based on a parking ratio. I just want to make sure
Okay.
that that was read into the record correctly.
All right, let me read it again.
Yeah.
A rental apartment, Riverview Park Royal, a rental apartments and retail facility across Canal Street East from the subject site, with proposed parking based on a parking ratio of 2 spaces per apartment, regardless of the number of bedrooms. The fact that almost 50% of the apartments are studio and 1-bedroom units should result in an excess of parking that may become available for the subject proposal. Accordingly, the commission is of the opinion that 45 spaces should be adequate for the subject 30 apartment proposal. Therefore, since on-site parking is limited to 38, the applicant must provide appropriate written confirmation guaranteeing the availability of not less than 7 additional conveniently located off-site parking spaces reserved for tenants of the subject proposal. As is normally the case, parking for ground level retail commercial space in the central business district will continue to rely on municipal parking facilities. Number 6, there was no traffic assessment or other traffic information submitted with the subject application or presented at the public hearings. However, after consideration of the downtown location and the previous use of the site, the street pattern, and the flexibility to disperse site-generated traffic in several directions, the commission concludes that there should be no significant adverse impact on the area road system. Off-site traffic impacts on area roads should be significantly less than that which might be generated by a variety of office and business development that would be permitted under the existing IB2 zone. Number 7, the initial preliminary development plans were referred to the fire marshal and the city engineer for their review and comments. The city engineer noted no major concerns at this time or reservations with the stormwater management system. Additional city engineering department review will take place if and when the proposal proceeds to detailed site plans and prior to approval of final site development plans. The statement of uses and standards needs minor revision and modification to clarify certain language and to correlate with the final actions of the commission. After concluding its review and discussions of preliminary plans and supporting services for the PDD petition and the initial development concept plans, the commission was prepared to render its initial decision and authorize staff to prepare a favorable resolution for their consideration and action. On the basis of the findings and concerns noted above, the following resolution is offered. Whereas the applicant has submitted a petition for the establishment of a mixed-use retail and residential rental apartment building under the provisions of the Plan Development District regulations on a 27,878 square foot site located at 113 Canal Street West, which site is now zoned industrial IB2 district. And whereas the applicant has submitted initial development concept plans, including a supporting engineering report, proposed SOUS, proposed site plans, and preliminary architectural design plans in order to provide the commission with the required information and details necessary to render conditional approval of the initial development concept plan and adoption of a planned development district. And whereas the commission convened a duly noticed public hearing on February 16, 2022, continued to and closed on March 16, 2022 to consider said application and petition. And whereas the commission is familiar with the history and circumstances of the subject site and the applicable zoning regulations, and has discussed and reviewed in detail the proposal and all accompanying documents thereto. And subject to the comments set forth above, the commission notes the following. 1, subject to the satisfaction of all concerns noted above, the application complies with the applicable zoning requirements. 2, necessary final approval of WPCA will need to be obtained, as well as final reports from the fire marshal and the city engineer. Initial development concept plans as submitted will require further modification and revision to address the concerns and limitations set forth above. Specifically, the maximum allowable residential density will be limited to 30 residential units, not less than 3 of which shall be established as affordable housing units with confirmed parking provisions for not less than 45 cars. All additional concerns identified will need to be resolved prior to the preparation and submission of the required final detailed development plans. 3, the site is temporarily being used by the city as a public parking facility. The site is flat at street level with a storm drainage culvert carrying burying ground brook across the site. The proposed storm water management plan satisfies the city ordinance, adequately addresses stormwater drainage issues, and proposes to discharge into the existing burying ground brook culvert. All utilities are available at the site. The site has extensive frontage on both Canal Street West and Canal Street East, with a very narrow depth of 60 feet, more or less. 4, the existing zoning allows as of right, subject only to site plan approval, a variety of industrial and related uses that may potentially result in greater impacts on the downtown Shelton street system than the proposed development. The provisions of a planned development district allow careful review and control of the proposed site development and architectural building design to assure an aesthetically attractive appearance from all directions. 5, the inclusion of the southerly end of the site, identified as property now or formerly of Yankee Gas Services Company, must be confirmed with an acceptable property survey to assure ownership of the entire site and the limits of the proposed PDD. 6, existing and proposed utility services are adequate for the proposed development. With appropriate and acceptable terms and commitments, the proposed parking arrangements will assure the provision of adequate parking to serve the proposed apartment tenants, and projected traffic will not overload the street system in the area. 7, the submission of final detailed development plans will need to address all outstanding concerns of the commission fire marshal, and city engineer, and all other applicable municipal boards and commissions. A written commitment acceptable to the commission, assuring the total availability of not less than 45 spaces shall be provided. Said commitment shall include the specific location of said spaces and how they will be monitored to assure only authorized users are using them. 8, the proposed PDD designation encompasses a parcel of greater than 20,000 square feet and is consistent with the comprehensive plan of zoning for the city. Now, therefore, on the basis of the above, the representations made at the public hearings and other discussions of the commission, the Shelton Planning and Zoning Commission hereby takes the following actions. A, in accordance with the provisions of Section 34 of the Shelton zoning regulations, the subject initial development concept plan is hereby approved, subject to the following modifications, conditions, and adjustments. 1, final approval by the commission concerning all site plan and architectural modifications and revisions of said initial development concept plan in response to all the concerns noted above. Satisfaction of all engineering concerns of the city engineer, all comments and concerns of the fire marshal, evidence of approval of WPCA, as well as any and all other applicable municipal boards and commissions. 2, submission of a modified and revised statement of uses and standards to clarify and address all outstanding concerns of staff regarding permitted uses and applicable standards. 3, approval of proposed architectural building design and details with particular attention to the visual appearance on Canal Street West and the use of proposed exterior finishes on all building elevations. 4, all utility services shall be underground. B, on the basis of this conditional approval of the initial development concept plans, subject to the stipulations and modifications set forth above, the proposed PDD is hereby adopted for the reasons found in the discussions preceding the motion and shall be notified and shall be identified as PDD number. Alex, you got a number for me, Al?
Mr. Rossetti?
I'm unmuting. I believe we're at 104.
104? I'll put 104, but you'll double check it for us. Okay. 104. Said PDD adoption set forth herein shall become effective on Friday, September 30, 2022 at 8 a.m. So,
Okay.
questions?
Any commissioner have any comments, questions, or concerns for Mr. Panico that they'd like to bring forth?
I have a question about parking, of course.
Mhm.
How does that arrangement become legal and permanent? Just 7 spaces.
There will have to be some sort of a license agreement prepared between the applicant and the commission and the city, guaranteeing the provision of not less than 7 off-site spaces, assuming he gets his 38 on-site.
So
And
that
that will have a lot of detail and a lot of specifics in it.
okay. So that would outlast the current owners.
Oh,
That-
yes.
yeah.
Yes, yes.
All right.
That would go with the property.
Okay.
Attorney Cedillo, do you have any comments on that to share?
No, Tony is correct. It's called running with the land. And once it's into the agreement and it's there, it'll be perpetual.
Right.
But they have to bring it forth in a fashion that satisfies the commission.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And obviously you.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other commissioner have any question?
Nope.
No comments then? All right, so is there a commissioner who would like to move the resolution?
Commissioner Parkins will move the motion.
Okay, there's a
Approval.
motion to approve from Commissioner Parkins. Is there a second?
Second,
And that's Commissioner Kelly?
yes.
Okay, so on the motion to approve and moving the resolution from Commissioner Parkins, seconded by Commissioner Kelly, I'll do a roll call. And let me just comment 2 on this particular application, 2128. Everyone was present on February 16th at the opening. And subsequent to that, on March 16th, April 12th, and August 9th. Commissioner Kelly was not at the March 16th meeting, but Commissioner Kelly, do you want to go on the record as acknowledging that you are sufficiently acquainted with this particular proposal to vote?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, so on that roll call, Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Laskos,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Motion to approve has passed by a vote of 5-0. All right. Next agenda item is application 2211, Dominic Thomas for TVG Partners. And that's at 445 Access Road, Assessors Map 63, Lot 7 on 2.03 acres for a major modification of PDD number 84 and final site development plan approval for 102,000 square foot self-storage facility. Public hearing for this application opened June 29th, 2022. And there was significant discussion between the applicant and the commission, including position of the building on the site, parking circulation, access to the interior of the building, building design, and security measures. Public hearing was continued until July 20th, when a lighting plan was reviewed, security considerations and solutions were discussed. And at that time, Mr. Panico indicated any resolution for approval could include the requirement that the applicant share in the cost of the sidewalk if one was installed in the future. The commission closed the public hearing. On August 9th, the commission discussed the application and staff was directed to prepare a favorable resolution that includes a requirement for installation of security gates on each side of the building as a condition of approval. Okay, so Mr. Panico, do you have a resolution to present to us?
Yes, I do. This is, again, application 22-11, the petition of TVG Partners LLC for approval of a major modification of Plan Development District number 84 involving Area B to allow expansion of the permitted self-storage use to encompass the entire site and elimination of the permitted gas station / convenience store use in Area B, the site at 445 Access Road, lying within the adopted PDD number 84. In its action of May 10th of 2016, the Shelton Planning and Zoning Commission adopted Plan Development District number 84, consisting of Area A and Area B. Said Area B encompasses a 2.03 acre site with approximately 250 feet of frontage at 445 Access Road, adjacent to the north side of the existing Walmart facility. The original concept plans for Area B proposed a self-store facility on the rear portion of the site, plus a gas station and convenience store on the front portion. The commission approval of Area B stipulated the replacement of the gas station and convenience store with another compatible use other than a high traffic generator. Accordingly, the petitioner proposes to expand the self-storage use to be the only use of Area B. Therefore, it is necessary to amend the statement of uses and standards with respect to Area B to allow only the self-storage use with limited exterior access. The only other modifications to the statement of use applicable to Area B is to allow a floor area ratio not to exceed 1.25, consistent with the recently adopted amendment of paragraph 34.5.4 of the zoning regulations. The proposed self-store building will be 3 floors of 34,000 square feet each, totaling approximately 102,000 square feet. The facility will be served by on-site parking for 7 cars, as well as a reserved loading and unloading area that extends around the entirely around 3 sides of the building. Final site development plans for the proposal are entitled 445 Access Road, Shelton, Connecticut, prepared by Rose Tizo and Company LLC, architects, engineers, and surveyors, and they're dated January 1, 2022, and revised 4/6/22. And architectural plans by Claris Construction, Inc., dated 3/21/22. The commission convened a duly noticed public hearing on June 29, 2022, which was continued and completed on August the 9th of 2022. During the hearings, there were no public comments expressed. The commissioners raised several questions relative to the proposed building height, site lighting and security, exterior building materials and finishes, street sidewalks, etc. All questions were addressed by the applicant's representatives, and modifications and additions are shown on revised plans. The commission has reviewed the latest modified detailed development plans, is familiar with the area and existing site conditions, has considered how the site is proposed to be developed, and notes the following observations and findings. 1, the original PDD 84 was adopted on May 10th of 2016 and encompasses 2 areas. Area A being located at 493 Bridgeport Avenue and Area B located at 445 Access Road. Initial concept plans for Area B were approved with the stipulation that the proposed gas station and convenience store be replaced with lower traffic generator uses consistent with the self-storage component of the proposal. The subject modifications of PDD number 84 addresses this concern by expanding the self-store facility and eliminating all other uses. Second, the site is part of the Route 8 corridor development area and was previously used as a contractor storage facility. The site has full utility services at Access Road. The site slopes gradually from right to left with a small inland wetland area at the rear that will be undisturbed. Some regrading of the site is needed to accommodate the proposed building and circulation drive, necessitating the use of low retaining walls along the property lines. The proposed site layout results in an increase in the amount of impervious surface coverage, and the stormwater drainage system is designed to retain peak flows using underground stormwater detention chambers to produce a significant reduction in peak site discharge. The city engineer's review comments have been addressed by the applicant, and the city engineer will review final revised plans prior to endorsement. 3, the modified statement of uses and standards as revised reflects the use limitation of parcel B solely to self-storage and the maximum floor area ratio of 125% of the lot area. 4, the revised plans include a lighting plan to assure no impact beyond property lines. A plan showing a proposed solution to commission concerns about security has been submitted, indicating the installation of security gates with access control loop detectors across both the entrance and the exit drive. The proposed location and details of said gate installations will require review and approval by the commission. In addition, the applicant has agreed to participate in the cost of any public sidewalk constructed across the site frontage. After a full discussion of the petition and the final site development plans for Area B, the commission authorized staff to prepare a favorable resolution for their consideration and action. On the basis of the findings and concerns noted above, then the following resolution is offered. Whereas the applicant has submitted a complete petition for the modification of PDD 84 relative to Area B to expand the self-store facility proposed at 445 Access Road, a 3-story facility having a total floor area of 102,000 square feet and eliminating all other uses. And whereas the commission held a duly noticed public hearing on June 29, 2022, continued to and closed on August 9th, 2022, to consider said modifications and revisions. And whereas the commission has submitted whereas the applicant has submitted final site development plans for Area B at 445 Access Road, including fully engineered site plans and architectural designs for a 3-story self-storage building containing 102,000 square feet, in order to provide the commission with the required information and details necessary to render final site development plan approval. And whereas the commission is familiar with the subject site and the applicable zoning regulations and has reviewed in detail the proposal and all accompanying documents thereto, and subject to the comments set forth above, the commission notes the following. 1, the application or petition complies with the applicable zoning requirements. Number 2, earlier approvals of the Inland Wetland Commission and the WPCA had been obtained, and favorable reports have been received from the city engineer and fire marshal, and all comments have been addressed. Any additional concerns not adequately addressed will be resolved prior to endorsement of final site development plans. 3, the parcel accompanied by said Area B is currently vacant and surrounded by other established non-residential land uses. The stormwater management plan satisfies the city ordinance and adequately addresses stormwater drainage issues. Comments and concerns of the commission relative to site lighting, security gates, and future public sidewalk cost participation have been addressed. All utilities are available on Access Road at the site frontage, and all on-site utilities will be located underground. 4, the final site development plans may need further minor adjustments to address any outstanding concerns of the city engineer and the fire marshal, as well as any issues relative to landscaping, engineering, and construction details. Now, therefore, on the basis of the above, the representations made at the public hearings and other discussions of the commission, the Shelton Planning and Zoning Commission hereby takes the following actions. A, the proposal is deemed to be consistent with the existing pattern of development in the Route 8 corridor area and with Shelton's adopted plan of conservation and development. B, in accordance with the provisions of Section 34 of the Shelton zoning regulations, the subject final site development plan for 445 Access Road is hereby approved, subject to the following conditions and stipulations. 1, the site plan should be clarified with respect to the limits of proposed walkways. All on-site curbing shall be extruded concrete or better. Bituminous slip curbing is not acceptable. The rubbish enclosure should be masonry and gated with a separate walk-in gate. The masonry should match the building split face block. The landscape plan should have notes added with respect to the survival period and the right of the commission to require additional supplementary plantings if deemed necessary. No ground monument sign is indicated on the site plan. Specifics shall be submitted for commission review and approval prior to installation. Satisfaction of all outstanding engineering concerns of the city engineer and comments and concerns of the fire marshal, as well as any other applicable municipal boards and commissions. Secondly, the modification and revision of final site development plans as needed to satisfy comments and concerns noted above. And third, specifics of all building, wall signage, logo, and other details shall be submitted for commission review and approval. Also, information and samples of proposed exterior finishes and colors shall be submitted if requested. C, all on-site utility services shall be located underground. Confirmation of final approvals by WPCA relative to the proposed sanitary sewer connection shall be provided. D, Final modified site development plans addressing all outstanding concerns shall be submitted for staff and or commission approval if required prior to endorsement of final plan approval. No permits shall be issued for any site or building construction prior to said endorsement of the final site development endorsement of the approved final site development plans. And E, on the basis of this conditional approval of final site development plans for area B, the subject modification to PDD number 84 is hereby adopted for the reasons found in the discussions preceding the motion and shall continue to be identified as PDD number 84. Adoption of said PDD modification as set forth herein shall become effective on Friday, September 16, 2022 at 8 a.m. Okay, that's it.
Okay, does any commissioner have any questions, comments or concerns for Mr. Panico?
Do not.
Okay,
I'm sorry, I was on mute and I was speaking. I'll make a motion to approve this resolution for discussion.
okay. All right, there's a motion to approve for discussion from Commissioner Parkins. Is there a second?
I'll second it, Commissioner Kelly.
Thank you, Commissioner Kelly. So we're open for discussion.
So the only comment I'd like to make for the record is that this is a modification of area B for PDD number 84. And I want to make sure that it in no way relinquishes the fact that the PDD, the applicant for the PDD originally relinquished the ability to construct a gas station on the site of Site A, which has not been discussed in this modification at all. So I just
Right.
want to make sure that the original plan for Site A remains as is, with them relinquishing the right to build a gas station.
I was anticipating that might be a concern. So I do have one more item I can add after E, item F, and I would phrase it this way. Item F, said modification shall in no way affect area A of PDD number 84 and the final site development plans for a 25,000 square foot retail facility at 493 Bridgeport Avenue, approved with conditions on May 10th, 2016. Is that clear enough, you think?
Could you read that one more time, just a little slower,
Okay. Said modification, meaning what we're doing tonight,
right?
shall in no way affect area A of PDD number 84 and the final site and its final site development plans, which involve a 2,500 square foot retail facility located at 493 Bridgeport Avenue, which was approved with conditions on May 10th of 2016.
Okay,
Okay.
If they
Yeah,
haven't,
I think just referring back to the date of the original approval is sufficient in terms of, because I know there was a lot of discussion about the gas station, so.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, so as far as I'm concerned, if you go ahead and approve this tonight, PDD 84 does not have any ability to accommodate any gas station
Mhm. Okay,
or convenience store. It will have self-store on area B, and it'll have a small retail building on area A.
good. To remind you, area A is on Bridgeport Avenue across
Yes,
from
area,
Wendy's.
correct.
Yep. So,
is that from 2016? Is that still a valid PDD approval? Doesn't that expire in 5 years?
Well, the development plans have a life, and I think we should remind the applicant of that so that he either gets it extended or he's going to lose it. But nevertheless, even if the development plans are invalidated by time, the basic use that the PDD allows on that site is retail,
Yeah.
period. Just retail.
Mhm. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so there is a motion on the floor made by Commissioner Parkins, seconded by Commissioner Kelly. So I will do a roll call vote.
Who
on
seconded?
Commissioner Kelly.
Okay.
Okay, so on the motion to approve application 2211 from Commissioner Parkins, seconded by Commissioner Kelly. Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Lascos,
Aye.
Commissioner Amato,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Motion has been approved by a vote of 5-0. All right, next agenda item is application 2219, Dominic Thomas for Shelton Air Company and Wholesalers Property Company at 10 Mountain View, Assessors Map 65, Lot 8 on 5.16 acres in an LIP zone for a special exception for a wholesale warehousing and distribution facility with business offices. A public hearing for this application was held on August 17th, 2022, during which time the proposal was presented and 3 members of the public spoke. After closing the public hearing, the commission discussed the application and directed staff to prepare a favorable resolution. Mr. Rossetti, do you have that resolution?
I do. It's not quite a Tony Panico special, but we'll do our best.
Go ahead.
I'm just pulling it up.
Yeah.
Okay. The applicant Dominic Thomas for Winair Corporation has filed an applicant to occupy the existing 31,000 square foot facility constructed on and to construct an additional 11,000 square feet to expand their warehousing operations and modify the site plan to accommodate on-site tractor trailer trucks. The 5-acre site and existing structure is served by public water and sewer. The site slopes upward from west to east, and construction of the addition will require significant grading and rock excavation. Design of the addition is consistent with the existing building and uses similar materials. At maximum, total on-site employment could be 20 employees. 42 on-site parking spaces should be more than adequate for the foreseeable need. The southern side of the property will undergo site work to accommodate an on-site truck turnaround, which is also where the addition is located to provide additional warehouse space. Staff has reviewed the site and architectural plans entitled Winair Proposed Addition, prepared by Borghese Building and Engineering, dated June 20th, 2022, and a duly noticed public hearing was held on August 17th, 2022, to consider the special application / expansion proposed as submitted. The commission comments expressed at said hearing concerned: 1, the retail character of the operation, which the applicant addressed by stating that it is limited in nature because their business as a wholesaler for business professionals is not directed towards general public retail. 2, the topography on the south side of the property leads down towards wetlands and a residential area. Concerns were raised about the stability of the proposed slope, chasing grades, and supporting the proposed turnaround. The city engineer and the wetlands agencies have no substantial comments and have approved this proposal. Additionally, the applicant proposes to install an erosion control blanket on the slope while vegetation grows in to stabilize the area. They do not believe retaining walls are necessary. However, if issues arise, we will have a soil and erosion control bonds in place. Commercial truck traffic. 3, commercial truck traffic was discussed, and the applicant informed the commission that there will not be any idling of semis on the road. All deliveries are scheduled far in advance so that they are in and out in an efficient manner, and that there is ample room for truck traffic on site, which is the purpose of the site work. The applicant is still required to abide by noise regulations of the city. 4, the architecture of the proposed addition was discussed, and the applicant confirmed that the exterior treatment of the existing facilities will be carried across to ensure consistent and pleasant aesthetics. The site work is confined to one area of the property, and the proposed landscaping should be sufficient to prevent glare from affecting the neighboring residential properties. around the rest of the facility, the landscaping is adequate. If the commission is prepared to dispose of this application at the time, the following conditions and stipulations are recommended. 1, compliance with all requirements and conditions of the engineer, fire marshal, and local traffic authority. That the approval shall be null and void if construction/site improvements are not completed within 5 years. That the P and Z administrator or city engineer be notified at least 48 hours prior to the start of any construction. 4, that soil and erosion control measures are installed per the state guidelines and as updated since the 1985 manual. That no building permit be issued until such time as the site restoration bond is submitted, an amount determined by the city engineer and having form and surety acceptable to Corporation Council. 6, modification of the site plans to adjust the concerns raised by staff and the commission regarding grading, landscaping, and improvement noise abatement. Trash compactor issues will be addressed as needed to assure compliance with the noise restrictions and limitations of the zoning regulations and confirmed by noise measurements made or measured by the Shelton Police Department. If issues arise in the renovated areas, the commission reserves the right to request an additional vegetative buffer or fenced screening. Posting of a site completion bond in an amount to be determined by the commission to assure satisfactory completion of all required site improvements, sound abatement, and site landscaping. On the basis above, it is up for the review of proposal. With knowledge of the site and general area and subject to the conditions set forth in the report above. I will leave it up to the commission to decide if you would like to move forward with this.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rossetti. Are there any questions from the commission for Mr. Rossetti? Okay, hearing none, is there a commissioner who would like to move the resolution?
Madam Chairman,
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Panico.
the one thing that was a little bit concerned about when I looked at the plans again is they have a bituminous storage area behind the new addition that they're putting up. And he does have some landscaping shown around the perimeter of it. But to be on the safe side, the commission may wish to have that area fenced.
Okay. Fence in the area behind the building in addition to the landscaping. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, in addition to what?
In addition to the landscaping that's indicated.
Yes, it's just, we've had some bad experiences elsewhere in the city where some of these industries have some outside storage and it turns out to be messy looking. And granted, we don't have any residential abutters, but nevertheless, even an industrial use on an adjacent property shouldn't have to look at a messy condition.
Oh, that's a very good point. Okay, Mr. Rossetti is indicating what he's talking about. The round circles are the landscaping, and there, it says right there, bituminous concrete outside storage. Okay, how do the rest of the commissioners feel about that?
When you suggest fence, what kind of fence are you looking for? Like a screening fence that people won't be able to see the mess, or just like a wire fence? What do you
Oh, no,
suggest?
I would be looking for something, some kind of wooden fence.
Yeah, wood panel fence. We can.
Solid.
An opaque fence of some sort, yes.
A solid
I-
fence,
A solid fence, right?
not a chain link.
What is shown there now? It looks like there's something shown there.
You show some plantings.
No, there's something shown on the.
No, I don't,
Alex, give me that
Something-
drawing again.
something physical? No,
That's the
Yeah.
boundary of the pavement. They're
that's
not
just,
calling
right,
it
that's
a
just the
fence.
pavement
Okay.
limit.
All right,
Okay,
I'd have
I
No doubt
suspect
the
that's
applicant-
probably the remainder of what used to be pavement out there
all right,
yes,
on the
The-
side of the building.
all right.
They
It
will
just
not
looked
have
like
an
there
issue.
was some sort of a wall or something there.
they will not have an issue putting up a panel fence and then on the exterior of that, putting up some landscaping.
Okay.
Okay,
are we referring to stockade kind of fence?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's fine. Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, so where would you propose that be added as number 9? or,
I can amend item number 7. If issues arise in the commission so right to request an addition.
yeah, you could extend that sentence, especially in the rear, whatever, how you want to identify that.
Yeah, that would be the I believe, northeast corner. No, northwest corner. Okay.
Mhm.
So
So particularly in the northwest corner of the rear of the building.
the
Sure.
northwest corner of the bituminous storage area shall be screened by a stockade fence.
Or some solid panel fence. I mean, I think leave them,
Fence or similar.
Yeah.
In addition to landscaping.
You got it.
Mhm.
The word storage has a very broad meaning and it means different things to different people. So to be
Mhm.
on the safe side.
Okay, you got it.
All right, does everybody understand that particular adjustment there?
Yep.
Okay. Any other comments, questions, or concerns? If not, is there a commissioner who would like to move the resolution as amended?
I'll make a motion to approve this project as amended.
Thank you, Commissioner Matos. So there's a motion to approve as amended from Commissioner Mato. Is there a second?
I'll second it, Commissioner Laskos, as amended.
Thank you so much. Okay, so on a roll call vote. Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Laskos,
Aye.
Commissioner Mato,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Motion to approve as amended is passed 5-0. Okay. Next thing on the agenda is new business. And the first is application 22-21. Alan Tima at 2 Mountain View, assessors map 65, lot 7 on 3.23 acres in an LIP zone for a special exception application for an automotive service office and moderate retail facility. Is there a motion to accept for review and schedule a public hearing?
Madam Chair, if I could just touch on that for a second before we move off.
Sure, go ahead.
Staff has been working with this applicant for a little while as to how to best address this proposal. So I'll wait for you guys to accept the application before I start speaking in public.
Mhm. Okay,
Commissioner Parkins will make a motion to accept.
Commissioner Kelly will second it.
okay, both commissioners, are we accepting it with also setting a public hearing?
Accepting for review at this point.
Just for review, okay. And so I'll do a roll call on accept for review. Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Mato,
Aye.
Commissioner Laskos,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Okay, so the motion to accept for review is passed. Mr. Rossetti, do you want to comment?
Just briefly, staff has worked with the applicant on this proposal. They've gone before the zoning board of appeals for a use variance. Some of you may be aware this is for an EV company to utilize an existing facility on 2 Mountain View Drive in an LIP area. And it's a unique proposal. There's nothing quite like it in town because this is basically a whole new industry. And we would like to kind of keep helping them move along. It's a special exception application. They're not changing the site all that much. They're really just reusing the interior guts of the building. And so we would like to schedule them for a special exception hearing for a first hearing at the end of this month. And kind of depending on any initial comments you have, if you'd like us to schedule them for that soon, or if you'd like to have more time, we can schedule it in October. But I know the applicant is chomping at the bit.
Okay, unless we hear it, we just don't know what else, what
Yeah.
questions to ask, so we
Yeah,
might. as well get it
exactly.
on.
I get you. I get you. I'm just trying to ask if it's okay if we try and push it through quickly, not push it through quickly, if we schedule the hearings more aggressively, or if you'd like more time for you to review the material and have it in October.
What is the variance they are seeking?
They have a variance from the zoning board of appeals for a use variance because there was no way for us to classify this type of facility in the light industrial park zone. So they have a variance to use this parcel as a light in a light industrial zone as a basically as a car dealership with offices on site. It was the best approach that we could come up with. And we didn't think a PDD was necessary. And so our approach was that this would be the best tact to move forward and for you to hear the application in a controlled manner so that this isn't throughout the LIP zone. It's restricted to this one parcel, and then we can take it from there.
So there isn't anything in our standards for an automotive service facility?
There
That,
is, but this is different. It's
Yeah. That was,
every,
that was the concern that we had. We did not want to see the area opened up to automotive services without it being something unique and easily adaptable to the area.
Mhm.
Didn't want to suddenly make the LIP zone another place for automotive services.
Okay,
And that's why when we couldn't come up with a good way to do it. And we finally agreed that maybe the best approach might be to recognize the uniqueness of this situation and have them seek a variance from the zoning board of appeals.
But
Okay.
that doesn't change the fact that we would still need a hearing to hear the application and get more specifics on
Yes,
it.
because it would be a special exception application.
Right.
So even though they got the use, you need to be sure of all of the other impacts or potential impacts.
So i.e., we don't want to hear a lot about this until the hearing opens,
correct.
so
okay,
that it could be on the record.
yes, absolutely.
Good point.
All right, so, Mr. Rossetti, what are you suggesting, September 28th?
If that's okay with the commission, yes.
All right, so. is
So I'll
there-
make a motion to
Set the public hearing
set
for.
the public hearing since we've already accepted it
Yep.
for review.
Okay, so there's a motion from Commissioner Parkins to set the public hearing for application 2221 for September 28th. Is there a second?
I will second that.
Okay, so on a roll call, Commissioner Laskos,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto,
Hi.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Thank you. Second new business agenda item is application 22-22, Christian Counseling and Family Life Center at 183 Howe Avenue, Assessors Map 118, Lot 7, on 0.93 acres for a special exception application for a nonprofit family counseling service. Is there a motion to accept for review and for staff to set a public hearing?
I'll make the motion to accept for review and set a public hearing.
Okay, and is there a second on that?
This is Commissioner Laskos. I'll second that.
Okay, does staff have a public hearing date specifically?
Yes, we do. And we'd like to get a little direction from the commission.
All right, let me have the date first and then we can,
September 28th as well.
okay. All right, so on the motion to accept the review and to set the public hearing for September 28th, made by Commissioner Motto, seconded by Commissioner Nolasco. I'll do a roll call. Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Laskos,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Motion passed 5-0. So Mr. Rossetti, what comments did you want to?
We would just like to get a little bit of just a touch of feedback from the commission if they'd be okay with us taking some doing some preemptive work to prepare this application for some type of resolution as it moves forward. We think it's a perfect fit for the facility, but it does require a special exception. Many of you may be familiar with the Lutheran Church on Howe Avenue. This is a nonprofit agency that's been in Huntington. They've been serving the community for years. They're a nonprofit, religious affiliated that offers counseling services. They are buying this piece of property. The Lutheran Church is leaving, and they want to use the secondary building, just like Team has used that building. They want to use that building for nonprofit uses for counseling and therapy. And then as needed, they will use the church for religious events. They are not changing anything about the way this property is currently being used. It's really just a change of ownership and a change of business type.
Okay, be
Where-
that as it may, I understand the counseling aspect of it, but they are not a religious congregation, so to speak. So
Correct.
be careful as to how the use of the existing Lutheran church building itself is being addressed. That I don't
Mhm.
believe they would be conducting religious services, but perhaps making it available for some other kind of congregation to utilize the building.
Yeah, they are open to both. If the Lutheran Church came in or other religious services wanted to come in, I think they would be open to accepting those practices.
So they would rent or lease the space,
I believe so. I will leave that up to them and let them describe it to you. I just wanted
Yeah.
to see if you guys would be able to give us a little bit of feedback for.
Is that the property, is that the church that's on like
Yeah, down the
corner?
street in
And
the
there used to be a
corner.
daycare in the back?
Yep,
Yes,
that's
Okay.
it. That's
Yeah,
exactly it.
yeah, it operated there until recently.
Okay, so the daycare is gone
Yeah,
Correct.
and
Team has
the
been there.
counseling center would take it over. Okay.
Yes.
yeah, they would use that rear building. Okay. All right, so what's the commission's position on that? Is this
I'm not sure what he's asking.
I'm going to say what I think he's asking. I think he's asking that we have the public hearing, but at the same time, they have already prepared a resolution based on the possibility that we would agree to approve it. Is that what you're saying,
Yeah,
Alex?
I mean, if you guys say, look, we really want to hear this out, then I'll say, okay, we're gonna wait and see how you guys feel. But if you say, well, this might be a good fit, we'll work on something.
Well, we still have to have a hearing.
I
Yeah,
understand. I
Definitely.
understand.
so
Yeah.
the difference is either voting on it that night after the close of the public hearing.
Oh, I got it.
Voting it at the next regular meeting, which would be October 11th.
Correct.
Right.
Well, I don't think it would hurt to have a resolution prepared, but I wouldn't say that the commission
Yeah.
can guarantee will sign off on it.
I agree.
That's right. Right.
Yeah, I think that's a good approach, Commissioner.
A lot would depend upon how the public hearing goes.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If it's a very smooth public hearing and acceptability by the neighbors and all.
Yeah.
Then you can move forward if you want to.
Yeah, we don't want
If
to,
there's any
put the cart
objection,
before
you
the
should
horse.
make a decision that night.
yeah, let's not put the cart before the horse necessarily.
No, but I respect his idea to
Yeah,
kind of, not fast track it, but be
Of course.
prepared if there's no opposition or if the commission is comfortable with approving it.
mhm.
Yeah.
Any other comments, questions, or concerns? No. Okay, well, we did a vote to accept it for review and set September 28th as a public hearing, so we're done with that. All right, we're going on to the public portion. If there's anyone from the public who would like to comment on an item that's not on the agenda, you can use the raise your hand feature on Zoom, or if you're participating by phone, you can dial *9.
And we have a
Right,
couple of-
and Mr. Rossetti, do you have anyone that's indicated they would like to participate in the public portion?
we do. There's a couple of hands raised. First, I'll recognize Ben Proto.
Okay, and for those who are going to be making comments during the public portion, you need to identify yourself for the record and state your address. Okay, that's Attorney Proto?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Attorney Proto, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. For the record, my name is Benjamin Proto. I'm an attorney in Stratford. I represent J&L Enterprises and Seed to Sprouts LLC. As you may recall, last month, we were before you on application 22-15, which is the Todd Road PDD application. Part of that application includes the use of the existing building for a private education association, which is Seeds to Sprouts. And due to some timing issues, obviously, the first hearing being in August and the school year starting in September, we were hopeful that the commission would agree to take that application off the table and put it onto the agenda for this evening for the purposes of discussing approving, even on a temporary basis, the use of the existing building for that educational facility. And if the commission recalls, we were back with you back earlier this year when we proposed the original proposal for this site, which at that time had a daycare. You then suspended your working sessions and then had the moratorium become effective, and we had filed the application just prior to the moratorium. And last month when we were before you, we submitted revised plans, which included the use of the existing building for the Private Education Association. We have a number of families and students who literally have nowhere to go to school at the moment. And so it's our ask to have the commission make a motion this evening to put the item on the agenda for the sole purpose of discussion and consideration of approving, even on a temporary basis, the use of the existing building for the Private Education Association. We would agree not to have any discussion regarding the apartment and multi-use function. We would come back to that in the normal public hearing session that you had continued at the last month's meeting. Our goal here is to try to get our children that are utilizing, our families that are utilizing this space into the facility so that they can continue their educational opportunities. And as you recall from last month, this is a utilization of a home school for the most part project and program where children come in who are being homeschooled, where they're required by certain curriculum requirements from the state to engage in certain group activities, things along those lines. So what we're asking this evening is to have the commission add this item to the agenda this evening for the purpose of considering the use of the existing building for the Private Education Association so that we can get these children fully engaged in their educational activities for this school year.
Okay, Corporation Counsel is with us. Attorney Teodoso, can you weigh in on this, please? If that's an appropriate method.
He's on mute.
You're on mute.
What stage is the application process in?
Public hearing?
We opened, this is for application, part of application 2215. We opened the public hearing on August 17th, and we voted that night to continue the public hearing. It has not been put on an upcoming agenda as of yet.
But the public hearing, was the public hearing for this temporary idea that you have, or was the public
Well,
hearing?
it's not a temporary idea, Fran. It's a permanent idea. It's a private education association, which is a membership organization of predominantly homeschooled families who utilize the facility for outside of the home educational opportunities. And it's so the use of the building is not temporary. It would be a permanent use of the facility. But what we're asking for is, we understand that this is all part of a singular PDD, but we're asking for the commission to approve, even if it's on a temporary basis until the entire PDD is undertaken and taken up, to allow for the use of the facility by the Private Education Association.
So this is part of that. It's a dual purpose, so to speak.
But the
PDD.
hearing is still open, so
Yeah.
I didn't think we heard a lot about it either when that,
No, and it's a shared parking situation, so it's still part of the PDD request application.
We're not denying that. It is part of the PDD request. We're not removing it from the PDD.
Mhm.
What we're asking is for the commission's help to get these kids back into an educational facility as part of their homeschooling program. Right now, they don't have it. And the educational year has, as you all know, begun.
But are you asking the commission to finish the public hearing and give you
No.
some kind of approval this evening? I mean, other than that, what can they do?
We're asking for the commission to grant a temporary approval of the use of the space for the Private Education Association pending the outcome of the final public hearing, final commission decision on the PDD application.
or what if we decide we don't like it? I mean, I don't see how this,
In all the
Well,
years
then
I've been on this commission,
that becomes a problem at the back end.
I've never
Yeah.
had this
Problem.
request
Nope.
before.
Attorney Proto, not for nothing,
Wait a
but
minute,
why?
I have
did-
another question.
Oh, okay.
I got one at a time, please. It's easier.
I'll defer to Attorney Tito, so.
This is a PDD or a special exception?
It's a PDD proposal.
PDD program.
All
In
right,
regards to
so-
the parking, there's more than sufficient parking, about almost double the amount of parking needed for that particular use on that particular site. It's a PDD application, Fran, which encompasses the existing building and the property next to it for a proposed apartment use on the property, with the continuation of the use of the existing building for the Private Education Association.
There's no interrelationship between the apartment proposal and the use of this existing building.
That's correct, other than some shared parking, but there's more than sufficient parking on the property that the existing building sits on for the PEA use and for the use of assuming it's approved, the apartment facility. And prior to this, that building housed a daycare facility, which is a similar type use as to what the PEA would be utilizing it for.
Be careful on how you state that, because in thinking about this, a daycare,
It's
I think
not a daycare use.
No, it's
I guess the
different.
similarity would come in that there's children
that's the only similarity.
with that, right? So and
it's
the
two different
fire marshal,
functions.
as my understanding, the fire marshal and the building inspector we are compliant with what they would want for the use by the PEA.
How did this go already to the fire marshal and the building inspector?
I think they, prior to our coming to you, when we were looking at it, there were certain aspects of the building that had to be somewhat modified, not substantially, for that use. And it was looked at by the fire marshal for that use to ensure that it would be appropriate for the use by the PEA.
Okay, and as I started to ask before, not for nothing, but why was these two different uses, a residential one and a use to reuse and reoccupy this building, come in as one application? Why were they not split up?
I think originally the original PDD proposal included the use of this building to have amenities for the apartment building. And unfortunately, with due respect to the commission, you stopped holding work sessions after our first work session. So we weren't able to come in and have conversations with you regarding what we wanted to do there and how we wanted to do it. And the application deadlines were coming up. So the application was filed originally with the building as part of the amenities, and then it was changed to the use for the PEA.
Attorney Proto, just because we don't have tech sessions, which is staff and no more than 2 members of the commission,
Yep.
doesn't mean that you can't continue to have conversations with staff. You know, if there
Well,
was an issue with that not happening, then we would, there's a means to rectify that, but
we're just trying to get families situated and their children situated in the educational opportunities to do that. And as a result, we're kind of between a rock and a hard place for these families and
so
these
are we.
children. And
Yeah.
I readily admit, Madam Chair and Fran and everybody else, that this is an unusual request. I'm not denying that that's an unusual request. We are asking for the commission's help in trying to get these children and these families situated, as we're now, almost a full month into the educational year.
Tell me, what would be the hours of operation?
I'm sorry?
What would be the hours of operation? The 5 days a week?
Let me see if I can get that information for you.
And what would be the capacity? How many students or families would be potentially utilizing the facility?
Hold on, I'm trying to get that for you. It's a little difficult when we're all not
Sure.
sitting together, as you know.
Before you do that, and let me just verify with Attorney Teodoso, am I overstepping our public hearing?
Well, this is
on
my
asking
concern.
these things? Yeah, Yeah.
This is my concern. You're essentially having a public hearing right now
Yeah.
on
and that's
a
not, it
use
wasn't
that
noticed.
has, wait a minute, on a use that has nothing to do with the reason that the public hearing was convened for, because this is a request for a temporary use, which is
Which is
not
why we're
gonna be-
asking you to add it to the agenda for this evening for purposes of that discussion. That's my request. First and foremost is for the commission to add it to the agenda, tonight's agenda, for purposes of discussion on just this piece of it, nothing else, and no evidence is going to be presented and no testimony of any type will be presented in relation to the apartment use, just the existing building. And I believe the public hearing is still open. We've never closed the public hearing. And to answer the chair's question, the hours would be 8:30 to 3.
Wait.
Do you want to, I can wait on that. Okay, we can wait on that. No problem. So our request immediately is to have the commission move to add this item to the agenda for this evening for purposes of continuing the public hearing on the sole issue of the Private Education Association.
I have some questions. The original application and the public hearing that is pending right now is for topic A, which is the residential side, and topic B, which is the educational side.
The public hearing is for a PDD, which includes the existing building for use as a private education association and the construction of a new building, which would be the apartment complex.
So what is it that you're asking to be put on the agenda today?
You'd have to put the whole application onto the agenda. We would limit our discussion to just the existing building. I believe it's 60 Todd Road, I think is the address of that one, for the use of that building, at least on a temporary basis until the final decision is made on the PDD for the the use of the Private Education Association.
And what about the rest of the public hearing?
We would not have any discussion this evening in regards to any other use within the PDD. That would be, we understand that would come back. You haven't set that public hearing date. I would imagine it would either be September 28th or the October public hearing date. But obviously we would, to push this off into what could be late September or even late October causes a tremendous hardship to the children and the families that utilize this facility for the private education association. And
I
we would
understand.
ask that you keep the public hearing open. We're not going to ask you to close the public hearing tonight. To put it back on the agenda. It's still an open public hearing, so you don't have to reopen it. We would discuss the PEA and ask for your approval, at least on the temporary approval for the PEA in the existing building.
But how do they do that? How do they do that when the public hearing's not closed?
Yeah.
I don't know that you can't do it.
Could this
Tell
be,
me how they can't approve the use of that building as part of, on a temporary basis, pending the final approval or denial, if that's the case, of the entire application.
This particular facility is in an IA3 zone.
I believe it's an IA3 or IA2. I can't remember.
Why didn't they exclude it from the PDD to begin with? As soon as they decided they weren't going to use it in support of the rental units, they should have amended their PDD to exclude it.
Mhm.
The fact that it's in the PDD ties our hands.
Well, that Tony may be correct and I'm not agreeing or disagreeing that would have been the better course of action, but it's the course of action that we have at the moment. And I'm sitting here with about a number of probably somewhere in the range of 80 plus total families that will utilize this facility over the course of the week. And we had, we're just at this moment, I'm stuck and I'm trying to figure out how to help these families. And we're asking the commission to help us help these families.
Why can't they get temporary space elsewhere outside of this application?
That space, one, probably doesn't exist, and two, would need your approval.
Where-
And we're here with you now with that space.
But it wouldn't need a
What's
public
that?
hearing approval.
It would depend on where the space is and what the current allowed use is in that space.
Go check with St. Joseph's School.
I don't know that there's anything large enough and that is set up sufficiently to accommodate an educational use.
But you said the facility had to be modified anyway.
Pardon me?
You claimed that the facility has to be modified.
No, they
anyway.
can walk in tomorrow morning and be there and they're all set to go.
I personally don't see how the commission can do this.
I don't know how we,
What about St. Joseph's School?
That's what I just said.
I'm not.
That's a school ready to go.
I'm not, Tony, I'm not familiar with it. And at this point, I don't know that my folks have looked at that.
The diocese have closed down many schools. You have St. Jude's School too.
Mhm.
where were these people before and how did they let theirs? It seems like we're under the gun here for some reason that was our fault.
Well, they were previously in Seymour. So here's the thing is that, and it's a common mistake. A private educational association is not a school. It's a private educational association. And it's families who predominantly homeschool their children who utilize the facility for outside activities as part of the homeschooling program. So it doesn't fall under an educational facility. It doesn't fall under a school. It's a private education association, which would require wherever we go, we believe, your approval, or anywhere else that we would go would require an approval.
Could you define outside activities?
Pardon me?
Could you define outside?
Sure, there's certain educational programs that are best done in a group setting as opposed to just having your child at home.
Okay, but but that could be done at home.
Well, you would have multiple children from multiple families in a home.
Or Zoomed.
You talking about instead of a
If I
parent?
may, I
Wait a minute, Peter,
object.
Peter. Wait a
I'm
minute.
objecting to this whole public portion being hijacked. And I think as a commission, and I'm asking the chair to return to public portion and disregard any of this,
Mhm.
because this is not a well use of the commission's time. And I totally disagree with this.
Okay. I understand your point. Absolutely, Commissioner Laskos.
Yeah, I know some reason this company lost its lease wherever it was and has gotten itself into this position, but could this be on the September 28th meeting so we could hear the whole thing? I only remember hearing a few words about this. We asked a couple questions about this concept and got kind of an idea about it, but I don't think we even had much of a presentation of the whole
No, we didn't.
thing.
Okay. All right, we have to move along here, Mr. Rossetti. What does it look like for the next time this public hearing continuation would take place? Are we talking about end of September? Or are we talking about one of the 2 October meetings?
I had this hearing scheduled for October 19th. We have September 28th, 2 other hearings booked, but if you guys want to hear it on September 28th and make it a little longer, we can do that too.
May I ask, would it be possible to schedule a special public hearing?
We already have 3 a month. That's our fees are very high. We can't do any more.
Even if we were to move it up, you cannot take this component out and approve it.
Well, no, we would do the whole we would do the whole PDD.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Notice requirements.
Ben, these are all volunteers. We have to pay stenographers, pay publication fees, pay all this stuff. It's not that
What
simple.
would you do with the continuation
It's-
of the public hearing? You would isolate this proposed use of a corner of that PDD? Or
I'm
would
sorry,
you
Tony,
propose to segregate it or?
Oh.
Well, the next public hearing would include the entire
Part of the
PDD.
PDD, you're not going to get a decision on it for 4 months. By time you conclude the public hearing, the commission has its discussion, formulates its position, and then it gets written up.
I think the alternative is to either find a place to move this facility to in the interim, or just pull out your application and resubmit for just this use.
Mhm,
I really think those are the only 2 options.
I think you're right.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to do this as a standalone. So, all right. I think we've gotten our point across. Now, Trinity Titoso, do you want any final comments?
Well, I think that what Tony said is a point that I want to make clear. The application right now is an application set for a particular use. Even if you expedite this, you cannot go along the way thinking that you're going to issue some kind of temporary approval and then the final approval. It has to be what the application was, and then the process takes its own time. If Attorney Proto wants to modify, as Ruth has already pointed to or suggested, he can do that. But be under no misconception that when the public hearing is finished, you cannot issue a temporary approval of some type while you wait for the process to catch up with the actual approval.
Mhm.
It's either one or the other.
Mhm. So there's no temporary certificate of occupancy,
There's nothing in our regulations that allows that.
right? Yeah, we can't create something that doesn't exist. So. All right, well, I think that we've,
Hey, Fran, can you give me I left a message. Can you call me tomorrow morning, please?
Yeah, and Ben, I did call you just before I left.
Yeah, I know. but call me in the morning and I gotta find a solution for these kids somehow. So I'm gonna see if you and I can figure something out.
All right.
If you, and I know this is not the time to talk about it, but if you give me a call in the morning, I would appreciate that.
I have a meeting in the morning, but by 11 o'clock, I can talk to you.
Okay, great.
All right.
All right, is there, Mr. Rossetti? Thank you, Attorney Proto. Mr. Rossetti, is there anybody else on the agenda or has indicated they want to address the commission?
There are a few other folks. Give me just 1 second.
Could you make sure that they're not also for the same purpose?
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. Attorney Tito, so is it permitted that any subsequent comments be made?
If you're talking about the application has a public hearing date set, and that's when the discussion for that is supposed to be.
Absolutely.
Mhm. Okay, and to tell you the truth, we have gone above and beyond in this portion of the public hearing. Our public hearings are for people to make comments on things that are not on the agenda. We never have this give and take. So,
It's gone on too long.
yeah, and if anyone does decide to comment on the same thing, it's not going to do anything, because as you can, if you've been listening, you can hear what Corporation Counsel has indicated, that there is no such way that we could do a temporary approval. So for all of us that have been parents, we feel your pain, that's for sure. So, all right, Mr. Rossetti, what do you have for the next person?
Tom Harbinson.
Okay, Mr. Harbinson, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Just a clarification, if I wanted to speak to an item that you had on the agenda, which you have approved and is basically closed, am I allowed to do so?
Attorney Teodoso?
You have a you have a condition that says speak to anything not on the agenda,
Right,
do you not?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, my statement that I have is, if there's anyone from the public who would like to comment on an item not on the agenda, please use the raise your hand feature on Zoom or dial *9 on your phone.
Okay. I have 3 items, 2 of which I will leave until next month.
Okay,
But the third item I think is important for everybody to think or consider about.
do your full identification, please, for the record.
Sure, my name is Thomas Harbinson, 15 Soundcrest Drive, Shelton, Connecticut.
Go ahead.
I've enjoyed visiting the new Common Bounds, park on White Street and walk over, and that's in the new Webster building.
Mhm.
And I was kind of surprised that the pedestrian signalization was not improved when that building was recently constructed, to have push button and signals to cross White Street from the Pierpont side of the street over to Webster Bay. It is striped, but there is no improved signalization for pedestrian movement there.
Okay.
I would have thought that that would have been done during the review process by the city engineer and the approval of that construction. But that brings me to something that I need to state publicly again. The city engineer for the city of Shelton is not licensed as an engineer in the state of Connecticut. I think that, in my opinion, another error or omission would have been caught by a professional. Related to my visit and other restaurants downtown, I don't know if this is within the bounds of planning and zoning, but there is a restaurant in the Pierpont building, which has taken over the sidewalk with tables, bicycles, flower pots, and other decorative items that makes it nearly impossible to walk down the sidewalk. Never mind, it is absolutely impossible to traverse the sidewalk with a wheelchair. Additionally, I note that there's been an antique car parked in front of the restaurant for weeks and weeks, day and night, taking up a parking spot for patrons of downtown businesses, which has been well established as a valuable resource. Thank you for your time.
Okay,
I can speak to that last item just quickly. We are aware of the issue and we are addressing it with the tenant.
okay.
Thank you very much, Alex. Have a
Thank
good
you,
evening.
Mr. Rossetti. I'd just like to point out there is a formal grievance process. And if a resident does have a complaint about something, they can go to City Hall and fill out the complaint form for the zoning enforcement officer to investigate.
Understood. I didn't know if it was a PNC item. I know that there is a municipal parking authority that has not been in operation for many years, despite the fact that we have a very limited amount of available parking spaces for businesses downtown, particularly places like the Chromium Process Lot, which has over 50+ units. which
That's
are
on the
limited
agenda.
space. Understood. I'll talk about it next month. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you. Okay,
Alex, one question, what he brought up as far as the walk lights and whatnot. Howe Avenue is a state road.
mhm.
Is it our authority to put them in, or do we have to request that through the state?
That's correct. Work done on Howe Avenue would have to be requested through CONDOT. I know Mr. Harbinson had brought up a comment about common bond up by Huntington, so I'm just a little.
No,
Conf-
Common Bond is downtown in the 502 Howe Avenue.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. They moved.
Yeah, no, they expanded.
That's right. I see what he's talking about now.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
I mean, anything going across Howe Avenue that's going to be state approved. And behind the scenes, we are working with CONDOT on having an entire traffic study done.
Yeah,
For
you could-
re-signalizations and pedestrian traffic and all sorts of stuff that's not going to happen immediately.
You could request it, but that's about it as
But
far
that
as.
crosswalk
city
is
concerned.
city. That's White Street that Mr. Harbinson was referring to.
That's
It's
true.
White Street. That's a
Correct.
Yeah,
city
but the
street.
lights.
It's already
lights are on.
signaled. There's already push button signals to cross over the Howe Avenue. He's referring to the crossover to White Street, which is
Gotcha.
city owned.
I getcha.
There's already signals there. and
Yes.
it should be
To cross.
operating.
There's push buttons already to cross over Howe Avenue.
So where does that go to?
That's a good question. I would,
Does it go to the box that belongs to the state? The control box?
Aren't these questions for the police department?
I would think so.
Exactly. All right, so that the staff can pursue that with the appropriate authority, the police department and such. All right, Mr. Rossetti, is there somebody else on to address the commission?
Yes, there is a Christy Vasquez. 1 second.
I'm not sure how I'm removed from the Brady Bunch box here, but be glad to be taken away.
you're still there.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be.
Want to be there.
Discontinue your audio. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Christy Vasquez, I've tried to promote you to a panelist. If you don't wish any longer to be, please just lower your hand. In the meantime, I'll move on to the next person. Michael Bennett, please keep in mind. Oh, there she goes.
Who's up? Who's on first?
Oh no, she lowered her hand. Michael Bennett. Again, this is for new comments. Please make them relevant. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Bennett, identify yourself and your address, please.
Hi, my name's
Here you go.
Michael Bennett, and I live at 16 Sanford Drive.
All right, go ahead.
And I know you said you didn't want to hear any more about the PEA, so I'll make this very brief. I am a parent who's affected. As a classroom teacher, I can attest that it would be I'm not a teacher here, I'm a teacher in a different town, but it'd be incredibly difficult to just like upend and move materials. So I just appreciate you guys doing everything you can to help us just to get our children in a classroom. And I understand there's confusion with the whole process. So thank you for doing everything you can.
Okay. Thank you.
Madam Chairman,
Yes, go ahead, Mr.
you're going
Attorney.
to start another public hearing if you
Yeah.
continue this.
All right, so let us just announce once and for all, no more, we cannot accept any further comments from the public having to do with 60 Todd Road and the PEA and having a facility for the homeschool group. Okay, is that sufficient, Attorney Tedesco?
Right, and it's also against the protocol of your announced meeting with
Yes.
regard to topics on the agenda.
Okay. All right. Anybody else, Mr. Rossetti?
Yes, there's one other, I believe, lady, Winnie M.
Okay, if you are Winnie M, please state your full name and address.
Hello.
Okay, we see you and hear you.
Okay. My name is Winnie Mao. I'm in the process of purchasing a property in Shelton. So it's 122 Armstrong Road. It's a R1 zone right now, but the existing building is a machine shop. And so the lot is only 0.11 acre and the square footage is about 750. So I want to find out if in the future, if I purchase it, can I raise the level and increase the space? And also, can I change it to work and home use? Because
Winnie-
right now it's commercial.
Winnie,
You need
please-
to get in touch with Mr. Rossetti at City Hall. If you have a pen, I will give you his number, phone
Okay,
number, and his extension. Mr. Rossetti is the administrator. He's at 203-924-1555, and his extension is 1380.
and it's Rossetti.
Yes, it's spelled R as in Robert, O, S as in Sam, S as in Sam, E, T as in Thomas, T as in Thomas, I.
Okay.
If it goes into voicemail, leave a message. Mr. Rossetti, do you want to add anything?
Hey, yeah, tomorrow morning, you might be better off if you dial extension 1510 and someone will definitely be able to pick up. I usually have meetings in the morning.
Okay. And Winnie, do me a favor for the record. Would you spell your last name?
MOU. M like Mary, O like Oscar, U like uncle.
And what's your present address?
I'm in New York.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very good.
Okay.
Uh,
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rossetti, anybody else?
There are no other hands raised.
Okay, and then how about
Hand,
on the
sorry, one
phone?
second. Somebody else just raised their hand. 1 second.
Okay. Is that somebody on the screen that we see? The last name is Sienna?
Yes. Yep. Can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead. What's your first name, full name, ma'am?
My first, Ariana Sienna,
Ariana, A-R.
Yep.
A-I-
Ariana,
A-N-A, Sienna. And your address, please, for the record.
2023 Meeting House Lane in Sean.
Okay, go ahead.
I just very brief. Do you mind explaining, if possible, and so as to not waste your time, explaining why the PEA was not added to the agenda, just so that I better understand? Like I've listened to the entire meeting, and just as a citizen of the city,
Attorney Tedioso,
I'm genuinely curious.
I didn't hear what she said, madam.
why was the PEA issue not added to the agenda?
I can speak to that if you'd like.
No, I am asking
Okay.
Attorney Tedioso too.
There's no process to allow what was being requested. And the commission continued the process that they had set in motion based on the application that was originally made.
Thank you. It was really just for clarification purposes, just so that I understand the structure and function of the meeting. Thank you, and thank you all.
Okay. All right, last call for anybody from the public, Mr. Rossetti.
Is there anyone else who would like to comment? Please raise your hand. I don't see anybody else.
All right. No other phone? Okay.
Nope.
All right. Motion of,
I'll make a motion to close the public portion.
thank you.
I second it.
Close from Commissioner Perkins, seconded by Commissioner Kelly. I'll do a roll call. Commissioner Lascos,
Aye.
Commissioner Amato,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion to close the public hearing has passed 5-0. Next is other business. The first is comments from the chair. Thank you, Attorney Teodoso, for your help this evening.
Can I be excused?
You certainly may.
May I?
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Aye.
All right, looking ahead to our November and December meeting schedule, I'd like to propose a change in dates. Our regular meeting is supposed to be Tuesday, November 8th, which is Election Day. And I'd like the commission to consider having it the next night, Wednesday, November 9th. The next meeting would stay the same, Wednesday, November 16th. But the following Wednesday, November 23rd, is Thanksgiving Eve. So I'm suggesting that we move that to November 30th. So if the commission is in agreement, the 3 November meetings would be all Wednesdays, November 9th, November 16th, and then November 30th. And then I have one thing for December. Right now, we only have one meeting in December as previously scheduled on December 13th. And that would mean that staff would not be able to schedule anything for the remainder of the month. And with the holidays, at the end of the month, there's a great deal of conflict in, I think, availability. So is there anybody that wants to comment on the November dates? The regular meeting would have to be renoticed as a special meeting.
Should be fine.
The November dates are all fine for me. You said the 9th, the 16th, and the 30th?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, those are all fine for me.
Okay. Commissioner Amato, do you have any issues?
No, yeah.
Okay.
But I think that sounds good to change those dates.
Yeah, and I wanted to do it ahead of time, way ahead of time. Commissioner Laskos?
I'm fine with it.
Okay. You're
Madam
good.
Chair, just
Go
why
ahead.
why is there an issue with the December 13th regular meeting? What's different? You
There
said that-
isn't. It's just,
There is
that
no
would be the
issue.
only one in December.
Okay, but you said it would have to be renoticed. I'm not.
No, the November 8th one.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Commissioner Amato, do you have any comments from the zoning subcommittee?
No, apparently we're just trying to figure out a date when we can meet on those signs.
Okay, thank you. And just a reminder to staff, let's make sure that there's sufficient notice given to find out everybody's availability. Next is staff comments, and Mr. Rossetti is recognized.
Yeah, we've just been scrambling for staff, so we'll certainly do better about trying to schedule things ahead of time. So I
Mhm.
just sent an email to those members of the science subcommittee. We'll try and set up a regular time.
Okay,
And I'll make sure whoever's going to be on top of the signs and zoning permits moving forward is on top of that.
very good.
With some excitement, I'm very happy to announce that we have 2 new staff members joining us. One gentleman is named Jim Orizzetti. He will be a zoning assistant helping us out with blight and zoning. And then the other gentleman is by the name of Ron Baya. Ron has over 20, close to 30 years of zoning enforcement officer experience. He has worked in East Haven and New Canaan and Monroe. He is Casio certified. He has wetlands experience. I've had the pleasure of working with him the past couple of days. And we would like to post him as our certified zoning enforcement officer for the city of Shelton.
Mhm.
And so if you give our office a call and you hear Ron pick up the phone, or Jim, that's who they are. But this kind of ties into the next item if you are ready.
Yeah, go ahead.
We would love to have Ron Baya appointed as our zoning enforcement officer. And if the commission is okay with that, we would be very excited.
This is a full-time position?
This is a full-time position.
Okay, and he went through the regular application process.
Yep, this position was noticed and available to the public. Ron was one of our finalists. He went back and forth between us and a competitive town. But we are very glad that he has ended up here in Shelton.
Mhm. Okay,
That's
but-
something that this commission approves?
Well-
It's the hiring, no, but the appointment of a
Yeah.
or a zoning enforcement officer, yes.
Mhm.
It's a little weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought it was just the chairperson, but
No, the city takes care of the hiring process, but the commission has the right to weigh in on the appointment.
weigh in, but we don't approve, we don't formally approve it, correct? Oh, I guess my question is, do we basically say we have no concerns, or do we actually have to have a vote on it?
I believe we have to have a vote. I can,
Mr. Panico, you have any comment on this?
No, I'm just thinking about, I
in the city, or what's in the.
can't recall the last time
charter.
that happened.
How do we vote on somebody we don't know?
It was a couple of years ago that there was a discussion at the commission level about the appointment. Was it for you, Mr. Rossetti?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. So that is, Ruth, is that the level that you're talking about? The
This commission did
administrator?
not approve Alex's role.
Ouch.
No,
No, I don't mean that in a negative way, Alex. I just said there was never a formal vote taken by this commission to approve your being hired for this position.
There
That I
was to us. It was kind of presented to us and we all had just a general discussion as we're having now, I think. That's how,
Mhm. Yeah. Tell you, I did not understand that the item C as appointment of zoning enforcement officer meant we would be doing this.
So
I thought it was an announcement of someone who the city had offered a position to and had accepted.
So
Right.
when I've read the state statutes, it says the commission shall provide for the manner in which the zoning regulations are enforced. And so that's to be done through a zoning enforcement officer, which as of January 1, 2023, has to be a Connecticut Association of Zoning Enforcement Officials certified officer, Casio. It is required.
So this has to do with the new state statute that had been passed.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Yes, in the fact that there are 75 Casio certified officers in the state and there are 169 municipalities, so do the math.
Mhm.
But we are fortunate to have one and we would like the commission to appoint him as the zoning enforcement officer to uphold the regulations.
well, I
Okay.
think we do that.
I have no problem doing that, but I would like to see something, all the material presented to us with that section highlighted so that we understand that this, where it's coming from. I have no reservations about his qualifications at all, but I think.
I would say if he went through the HR process and was hired by the city with the approval of the mayor, I assume,
Mhm.
those are the professional authorities that would appoint him to this position. I have no objection, knowing that the process that he went through, that it was posted, etc. I have no objection to him being appointed. So
And
I guess, does that help?
Yeah, let's.
Why don't
just-
you vote to accept him?
Yeah. Wait.
Because
Yeah, that's what the agenda item says.
I don't know that we have the
Because appointment,
authority
not
to do
accepted.
that.
Yeah, see, that's the thing with that new state law too. And what does the city charter say? About,
So you know what I would say? I would say I have no objection, but I would, and he's in the role, he's already started the role, and if we do need to have a vote on it, then
we'll do it later.
we'll do it at another month
mhm.
or at our next meeting. Come back and tell us that you need a formal vote and we'll give it to you. I have no objection.
Okay.
I don't know how other commissioners feel, but that's my,
No.
No, I just want to make sure that we're dotting our i's and crossing our t's and we're not.
I just don't know that we have the authority to approve it.
If you're, yeah. Yeah, that's appointed on or after January 1st.
Of 2023.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Let me just see.
That goes into effect in, what, this is 4
Doesn't say
months.
anything about being approved by the commission.
Yeah, can you pull up the city charter? Because I thought there was something in there as to the, what the zoning commission has the authority to do.
I think we have the ability, not authority, the ability to recommend removal, if you will.
Mhm. That's why I'm asking for the city charter. I can leave you screen.
Now, this act just requires the ZEOs to obtain the Casio certification, so it's great that we found somebody.
It's nothing to do with us.
Yeah, it's great that we found somebody that has it.
That's for sure. I've got the charter. I'm opening it up on my desktop. Let's see.
Can you
Alright.
share, Jenny, or no?
Well, I'm looking for it first. It's
You know what section might be?
that's what I'm trying to find out.
Yeah.
Because it talks about the powers and duties of the boards and the clerks, and but there was something in here a while ago.
To be under the, I think the commission.
All right, boards, commissions, all right. This is Board of Apportionment and Taxation, Board of Education, Library Board, Planning and Zoning Commission. All right, city shall have a Planning and Zoning Commission. It's section 5.1.4.
Okay, I'll share it in 1 second.
Yeah, the city shall have a Planning and Zoning Commission elected as provided by section 2.4.1 subsection F of this charter, no more than 4 members of whom shall be from the same political party. The members shall hold no other elected or appointed office than the city. The commission shall have such duties as are provided by the Connecticut general statutes related to planning and zoning, and subject to the approval of the mayor, shall appoint and remove zoning and planning officers and such professional and other personnel as may be necessary or convenient to the operation of the commission. That's what I think I recall.
Our zoning regulations say that there shall be a zoning enforcement officer who shall be appointed in accordance with the city of Shelton's charter and personnel merit system. Doesn't say that the commission has to appoint them.
We wouldn't be even involved in that.
Tony, read the beginning of that again. What you found?
Under section 3.1 zoning enforcement officer.
Oh, let me find, I have my book right here.
There shall be a zoning enforcement officer who shall be appointed in accordance with the city of Shelton's charter and personnel merit system.
Yeah, and it would seem that the charter that's up on the screen,
Yeah, so we don't have to, you don't have to appoint them.
I'm taking it is that the regulations say we go by the charter, and the charter says we appoint them.
Correct.
The charter says what?
The commission shall have such duties as are provided by the general statutes, and subject to the approval of the mayor, shall appoint and may remove zoning and planning officers and such professional and other personnel.
Well, that may be true, but you still need the approval of the mayor. So
We
if
have the
mayor
approval
says
of the
no,
mayor. The mayor has approved it.
So
I personally think this is the role and responsibility of the chairperson. I'm not making that joke, as a joke. I'm
but it's
serious.
saying the commission shall have such duties as provided by.
You represent the commission, Jenny.
Yes, I do.
there you go.
Yes, I can. But I thought in the past we did vote on something. So.
I don't ever recall having a formal vote to appoint Alex or anyone else.
I'm pretty sure there was something. So
What's tried to make an issue of this, if you recall?
say that again, Elaine?
Our former commissioner tried to make an issue of our role.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
The deceased commissioner, is that how I phrased it?
yeah.
The deceased commissioner?
He's not deceased.
He's
But-
not deceased.
Easy
No.
now.
The former commissioner did have some disagreement with when somebody was appointed somewhere along the way, and
All
we
right.
pointed
Oh,
to
yeah,
this
yeah.
as being this, we have the authority to do this. So,
Personally
But
think we should just,
But that was a temporary appointment anyhow.
All right, I propose a motion. You have the chairperson appoint the mayor's recommendation for the CEO. How's that?
or to confirm.
To confirm the mayor's approval.
Yep. Okay, so there's a motion from Commissioner Parkins for the chair to confirm the mayor's appointment. Is
I'll
there a
second that.
second? Okay, is there any discussion?
Nope.
Okay. All right, so all those in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, I heard 5 ayes. Any opposed? Okay, motion is passed 5-0.
Perfect.
Okay. All right, and the chair does approve the appointment of our new zoning enforcement officer as appointed by the mayor. Is that sufficient, you think?
Thank
Yep.
you very much. I
You're
appreciate it.
very welcome. All right. All right, last thing on the agenda is the approval of meeting minutes. The July 20th minutes were already approved at our August 17th meeting. Does anyone have any comments or changes for the August 9th minutes?
Chairwoman, I do. If I
Go
can
ahead.
find it now. I'm sorry, I didn't mark it.
You remember what category it was in?
I'm trying to remember what application it was in.
Yeah, the applications were Chromium Commons,
It was about,
Brookview Apartments, and then text change.
I think it was Brookview
Paul.
Apartments.
Okay, so
Where's that?
that's B under,
B?
yeah, under old business, it was item B.
Yes. Okay, so on page 4, when on second sentence, it says she then suggested the commission can waive the fees for applicants who previously made proposals which were denied and are reapplying for something different. If I said that, I used very poor choice of wording, that I did not mean to infer that applicants can come back if we deny without prejudice and submit a new application. So I didn't have time to go back and watch the YouTube video on that,
Mhm.
but that certainly was not.
Well, would you feel more comfortable that we just tabled the approval until you can?
Yeah, that
Okay.
sounds like a good idea.
All right. So who wants to make a motion to table the August 9th minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, and is there a second?
Second,
Second from Commissioner Kelly?
yes.
Okay, so on the motion to table the August 9th minutes, I'll do a roll call. Commissioner Laskos?
Aye.
And the Commissioner Motto?
I,
Commissioner Parkins?
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Motion to table the approval of the August 9th minutes passed 5-0. All right, members of the commission, seeing that there's no other item on the agenda, I am declaring this particular meeting adjourned as of 9:04 p.m. Thank you,
Can I-
everyone, and have a good night.
Could I
Good
go
night,
with
everyone.
Ruth, Peter, and Elaine for 2 minutes once there's no more
Yeah.
longer a quorum? Just really quick.
Sure.
Thank you, guys.
yeah.